Hello and welcome everybody to NACL presented by The Real Cost, where we find ourselves deep into the playoff bracket for summer 2024 season. I'm Kangas, I'll be a play-by-play caster for the day, and I'm joined by Beatdown, who would like to announce to everybody. You had a new nickname for me that you said right before we went live. Do you want to share it for everybody now?
Yeah, it was Bald Man.
Oh, well, that's generic. Everyone's heard that one already, Beat. We'll
yeah,
work
but
on
I
the
also
creativity.
tweeted it, so I have to double up. You know, I gotta be consistent, and I'm nothing.
I heard it differently when you said it before we went live, but maybe you just didn't want to share it with everybody.
I
here,
think it's the ears, bro. Like, I know you don't clean them very often. That might be a contributing factor.
Okay, all right. Well, now we're just roasting me for no reason.
But, you know, open this door. I don't want to hear it.
I'm happy that we get a cast together. I guess maybe that's a one-way street. But before we get into the day proper, we do have an update for everybody because we have been giving out awards throughout the last couple of days, and it's time to announce our second team All-Pro. So, without further ado, let's see who made the cut.
Introducing your second team All-Pro for NACL Summer 2024. In the top lane, Dragonsteel Zamudo.
Oh, he didn't even land the keeper's verdict, so...
That's what I thought. I thought he was dead to rights because of that.
I'm wondering, too? He just gets the flash?
No way!
Oh! Really nicely done.
In the jungle, FlyQuest NZXT Shaden.
Oh my god. If there was a moment to do it, if there was a person to do it, it might just be Shaden. We've seen him make the difference time and time again. He's in there, and he gets it! I told you he was better! And Zamudo goes down too! FlyQuest are absolutely smurfing it!
In the mid lane, Fear X Starforge Ablaze Olive.
Is this going to be the make-or-break moment? XU not really wanting to give his life for it, but it looks like Music was willing to. Rovex goes in with the Zenith Blade, but now Blue Otter, they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And that's a double kill for Ablaze Olive.
In the bot lane, FlyQuest NZXT Sajet.
For the first pick, they take down Rummer. Baron secured over to TLC.
How much, though?
Kill goes for Bradley, but he's getting chased down by 4 members of TLC. He cannot do enough. A shutdown's going to be found by Sajed, and here comes the rest of FlyQuest. They hop onto spawn. They'll dismantle the Draven. They'll get a triple kill for Sajed.
And at support, FlyQuest NZXT Chime.
So Surdy's gone Mega. Fysol's
They're
off
going
to
for
the
it.
side. Chime, he wants
they're
it.
completely split. Look on the other side. They do not have
That's a nice off the line.
Fysol cancel though. Sajed going over the wall now. Big Moonlight Vigil wins. There's the Requiem though to kind of separate them, and they're already taking 2 down with Surdy. And now Sajed's going forward with his own flash. Supernova had no bodies left.
So there you have it, our second team All-Pro winners announced there. Zamudo, Shaden, Ablaze Olive, Sajed, and Chime. Congratulations. Beatdown, I want to get your initial thoughts and reactions to the second team All-Pro team.
I think, honestly, for the most part, it's about what I voted at every role. I think the fact that FlyQuest challenges were getting a lot of representation is very fitting. I think the players mentioned had a really good split, especially Shaden, who I think is playing a lot better than he did in spring, and Sajed, who I believe just continues to improve with Chime, and he's just good.
Yeah, Sajed, reminder, this is his second split in the NACL. He got Rookie of the Split in spring, and already second team All-Pro. Great trajectory. I mean, that org just breeds 80 carries, man. Masu's been popping off in the LCS, and now Sajed's right behind him here, following a kind of similar trajectory. It's really interesting to watch the two of them and see how many accolades that they've been able to achieve as individual players.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think overall, too, like, I mean, I think Masu, the end of it, is still going to be a bit of an exception, especially with how well he's doing currently in the LCS. But yeah, I mean, FlyQuest continuously being an org that just knows how to find and cultivate talent. I mean, that's a part of the reason why they're one of the 2 remaining LCS affiliate rosters, that dedication to new and improving talent.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of FlyQuest players specifically on the second team All-Pro. Notably, they were the 3rd seed, so they weren't even like a second seed. It's not like a traditional, just the top 3 teams have all their players in there. FlyQuest still had a couple individual performers that really showed up this split. Speaking of, let's take a look at the bracket to see how well they've done so far here in the playoff tournament, because FlyQuest Challengers made a decent run, I'd say, through the upper bracket. Quick 2-0 over TLC, but then they did drop the series to Fear X Starforge. They're hoping for the rematch against them. But first, they have to take down Supernova, who just kind of dismantled Blue Otter yesterday. That series, Blue Otter was winning a lot of the early games, getting gold leads, but Supernova, their veterancy and calmness in late-game teamfight scenarios was just better. And Supernova's going to be leaning on that a lot as well, going up against FlyQuest. But FlyQuest, no slouches in the experience department. They do have a lot of names that have a lot of experience.
And back to that earlier point, Steve, again, both of these teams, they're playing to get into that lower finals tomorrow and playing to get that last chance at our second spot at the Riot Games Arena for finals. And of course, our last slot to go to the Americas Challengers Tournament in Sao Paulo later on in September. So a lot to be playing for today for both of these teams. It isn't going to be that step that gets them to finals or Americas Challengers, but it is that next step that they need to take so that they can fight here for that right.
Dragonsteel have already locked in one of the 2 spots. There are 3 teams fighting for that last spot. Up first is, of course, FlyQuest Challengers versus Supernova. That is the match that we will watch today on stream. It is a full Fearless best of 5 and beatdown. We talked a little bit off stream about predictions. How do we expect this one to go? And I'll just air mine right now. I think that this one is going to be close. Honestly, you could, in chat, tell me who you think is going to win it. Either way, I understand your argument. But if we don't get 5 games, I feel like we're going to be robbed in this series here.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, even when we talked about beforehand, I'm expecting no less than 4 games, almost certainly 5. I think both of these teams are definitely on the scrappier side, and especially with such important stakes here, you got to imagine they're going to throw everything they got at what could be their last match of the season, guys, because remember, lower bracket.
This is the last opportunity to continue playing good old League of Legends in 2024 in Tier 2 NACL. Let's take a look at the competitors on the Rift today. FlyQuest NZXT Challengers, the team that beat down you and a lot of us said at the beginning of the season, pretty much shoo-ins for Sao Paulo, right? Like, on paper, they're the reigning champions. They made one roster swap with Bradley coming in, but so far they have not looked invincible this summer.
They're really trying to recreate that spring success that led them to a winner's bracket run into being our spring champions. But it's true. I mean, I think we underestimated how important Quad was to this team, especially looking at how well he's been playing in LCS, especially in playoffs. I think it's kind of understandable. He just had exactly. He just had that kind of pressure. When you win mid that hard, it makes it so much easier for the rest of your team to play. And Bradley, his return to mid lane hasn't been everything we expected it to be. He still has a chance to kind of step up and live up to that hype and potential we had for him.
He's got a chance, but pressure's on because he is the only roster swap, the only difference between first seed and winning versus third seed and being in the lower bracket here. But let's take a look at Supernova on the other side of the Rift, because pressure's also on a couple of these players. Maybe a little pressure relieved as well, as they made 2 roster swaps from spring to now. Supernova kind of bombed out, if we're being honest, in spring playoffs. They lost 2 series in a row and were swift to exit the tournament. But with Toasty and Lens coming in, 2 very young players, Toasty in a second split here, and both of them just yesterday beating their all-time deepest playoff run record. Both of them were matched at 5th, 6th as the highest they'd achieved before. I think that Supernova riding a bit of a high right now, Beat.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you talk about Sajed and this being his second split and him winning Rookie of the Split in spring. He beat out Toasty for that, who was somewhat in that conversation as well. And I think Toasty has looked better so far in summer. He's got nods for most improved player. That wasn't my vote specifically, but I do think he has been looking noticeably better. I think he played Game 4 really nicely last night on the Yone. It was actually pretty disgusting. And I mean, looking at the bottom lane too, Lens as a player, as long as I've seen him in that North American ecosystem, I've always thought he was a really good player. I think the first time I saw him was on 100 Thieves Next when he had replaced Ray a couple of years back. And I mean, since then, I've always thought highly of him.
And then, of course, we even have, there's a lot of stories to cover here in this matchup in particular. Yeah. The next one I'm going to bring our attention to while we wait for the first couple of picks to come through is Faisal going up against Surdy here. Faisal technically up against his old org. He was on this team last year, and then they dropped him in favor of Surdy for 2024. And now on a much more successful roster, Supernova has a chance, and Faisal has a chance to get maybe a little bit of revenge, saying, hey, are you sure that you picked the right top laner? Because Surdy had a lot of eyes on him in the offseason, but so far this summer has also looked like there are top laners that can give him a lot of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Faisal, has just been consistently good the last 2 years we've had him in Challengers League. The split has just been another good one for him here, so it will make that top matchup pretty interesting. And just a reminder, guys, like you said earlier, Steve, this is a fearless best of 5. So when we get into games 4 and 5, things are going to get way more interesting, especially with the amount of champions unavailable and the removal of bans as we get later into the series. It's been some exciting stuff. I know we've had some Game 5 experiences already, Steve, and it's been cool.
Yeah, of course, Game 4 in the best of 5 full fearless, we have only 3 bans for each team. In Game 5, there's no bans. So the only way to make sure a champion is banned for Game 5 is to let somebody pick it early on. Let's talk about the picks so far. Misfortune locked in, blue 1 for FlyQuest challengers, Maokai and Cassante. Quick picks for Supernova, which makes me think that they're going to give Toasty the counter pick in mid lane.
Probably. Cassante is one of those champions. I think Cassante and Renekton so far this split have just been, there you go, see. I've just been very safe early picks, and it is something that you'll often see teams go for, just in light of, like you said, having that opportunity to counter other lanes later on, especially because right now, FlyQuest have this brand. You have the Misfortune. You're already looking for bot priority. You have it also in top lane with the Cassante. So just this idea that you want to try and make space so Brand can full clear, can get aggressive, can invade, and things like that in the early game and continue to scale into that late game. So Supernova maybe trying to use some of the counter picks they may have to get Prio in another lane, just in hopes that they can either neutralize that or maybe affect Shaden's early game in reverse.
Yeah, specifically mid lane priority is going to most likely be the name of the game. They will get counter there, and if you have priority mid, that's the central area. You can oftentimes back up your jungler wherever they are, so that could work out for Supernova. But what I want to talk about is the combination of Misfortune with Brand, because when we've been seeing Misfortune, oftentimes I see her with things like even the Amumu jungle coming back, these big engaged supports. I don't think of it as much a combo with Brand, because Brand, when you throw out ult, everybody wants to spread apart. And Misfortune wants everybody together when she's ulting in. So I'm wondering how these two are going to layer on top of each other. And I think a lot of it could come down to what their engage options are going to look like. Speaking of, a lot of those taken off the table with the Alistar Nautilus bans.
Yeah, that is what makes the opening from FlyQuest a little interesting so far, Steve, is that, there's a real lack of engage so far. You have some frontline with the Renekton, but because you're going Brand jungle, you're missing out on the engage options. So, of course, because Supernova are likely going support on 4, FlyQuest don't want the Leona to go through. But this is tough as the pool's getting pinched out quite a bit. So, FlyQuest Chime's going to have to dig a little deep in terms of engage options to make sure FlyQuest and ZXT have a chance to start off team fights the way they want to.
I mean, Rel's still up, so if Supernova don't lock it in, I imagine that's what they would go for here. But Supernova most likely locking in their support right now, because in my mind, you want to give Toasty the counter pick based on how the draft is gone. 100%. Rel is a takeaway from the engage, and it also, I think, pairs just fine, so I don't hate this.
Could go the Renata. I think maybe Rakan is also an angle there, something Chime's definitely played a good amount of. I just feel like you need a go button, and unless you somehow pull that out for Bradley in the mid lane, I don't know if I like Renata there. And yeah, okay, so it is the Rakan. Yeah. Makes a lot more sense.
Conceptually, I think Renata is cool against what the champs that you're seeing right now, but you're right, with the rest of the comp, they would like to have a go button in some way to actually start fights off. So Rakan, with all the other engaged supports banned, Rel picked, seems to be the option. And we are getting a hover of what could be the second Shuriman Ascended champion if it's locked in. We've seen this in a lot of major regions. We've seen this around the world. And
it's happening!
We got Nasus mid for FlyQuest challengers.
Yeah, and we have been seeing it banned a little bit more recently, even here in NACL, because, it has popped up a lot in priority. I mean, for those who don't know, it is this kind of poke sort of Nasus build in the early game where you put 4 points into E. It's actually kind of really hard to deal with as really any ranged champion, and the Wither is probably the most annoying thing in the universe. And, of course, you scale great. So I like that pull out there from Bradley.
It's kind of become a counter to the things like the Corki, like the Zeri mid lane. And now Toasty's picking Corki into it. So Supernova clearly do not have like what I would consider a specific counter pick into this champion. Maybe they weren't expecting it. But if you lock in Corki, that means that Corki's not going to be on the table for either team going forward. So potentially they're just thinking, you know what, it's worth it in game 1 to just lock that in anyway. But now all of our eyes are going to be on the mid lane because Bradley, we were just talking about him, has not had a standout return to NACL mid lane competitive play. But now he's been given arguably the most exciting champion for the implications in the draft.
I was going to say, exciting for who? Because it's going to be a while before Nasus really gets interesting. But I'm picking up what you're laying down, Steve. I think the thing that immediately stands out to me is, for FlyQuest, there's a lot of pressure on Chime's shoulders to be able to start off a lot of these team fights. He's that sole bit of engage here. Yes, you can have the classic flanking Renekton, but I still think there is a lot of onus on the support of FlyQuest and ZXT to be able to find these angles, to set up things like the bullet time, the pyroclasm from this brand. Because on the other end, at Supernova, you have a pretty good range advantage here. You have Jhin, you have Corki, you even have a lot of great engage with the Maokai and the Rel. So especially with a comp where you want to get to the later stages of the game for Shaden and Bradley, I think Supernova will probably have an easier time team fighting.
I imagine that if FlyQuest challengers can get like just even gold to a Dragon Soul fight, then that will be a fantastic spot for things like the Brand and the Nasus to be in. But the front line for Supernova will also scale. Either way, let us know in chat who you think is favored here. Spam FlyC for FlyQuest and ZXC challengers, or SN for Supernova. And a reminder as well, we're loaded into game number 1 here, that you can purchase tickets for the the NACL live finals at the Riot Games Arena for Sunday, September 8th.
Tell them what else, Steve.
Tell them what else. You can stay updated by following at NACL or watch NACL on X. You can also sub to the channel, get all the cool emotes. I feel like we don't advertise that enough anymore.
No, it's true. I mean, I miss those emote ads we used to do. That was really fun. And you know, well played, Steve.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, nice. Perfect timing. Thank you, production. Sub to our Twitch. Half the proceeds go to teams and players, and you get these cool emotes. Like, what else do you want out of
special shout out to anybody who's watching this right now while Game 5 of LCS is happening currently. You're the real ones.
Yes. It's honestly just great when you realize you have multiple monitors and you can watch multiple things. It's very cool.
Ooh. Very true.
Yeah, very true. And,
all right, well, let's catch up on the early game here. Oh, or not.
Okay, there we
FlyQuest fans, yeah?
I was just waiting to see, you know, because 100% Supernova, that's kind of abnormal. Just 100% anybody. We got some in the end, but this is a very Supernova-favored chat, it looks like, and we'll see if that changes as we go game to game.
It could just be everyone's looking at that second monitor at this point in time, but we'll let that scale up as the series goes on here. Early on, though, I want to bring our attention to what we can expect for action in the game. When do we see either of these compositions start to try and contest each other for stuff beat down? Are you thinking that one of the teams is heavily favored in the early game, or is it just going to come down to how the pressure in the lanes shake out?
I mean, it depends kind of what we're talking about here, because so far you see Lens and Diamond have that pressure in that bot lane that could easily turn into early Drake stacking there for Supernova, or the Grubs Prio if they want to do a lane swap early on. I would say that kind of answers the question, where I think Supernova have a bit more playmaking tools early on. You want to scale up as Brand, you want to scale up as the Nasus. So you want to wait till you get a couple items under your belt before you really start to show your power. So I think FlyQuest are just trying to not trying to be too active in this early game, outside of trying to play with this Renekton, who of course, you have a lot of pressure with that.
I will say the wrenches might being thrown in the mid lane. Bradley is actually just kind of winning right now. Up about a wave of CS over Toasty, more than half a wave at least, and winning the health bar trade, winning the mana trade. This is what Nasus can do. Take the mana flow band, you're able to heal up off of the wave, and it's just hard for these range 80 carries to actually deal anything. But the flash forward from Kennedy, they're going to try and go for first blood on the Bradley, but Shaden's in the neighborhood, and he will pick it up instead. Not enough damage to take down Bradley, so not even a trade of kills. That's first blood of FlyQuest challengers.
Yeah, that feels great. Shaden's going to take his prize as Kenvy's Raptors as well. Shaden has the flash, but I guess he doesn't actually want to push his luck because Bradley took that opportunity to spend his gold a little bit. But still, really nice play for Shaden, who was in the area. And again, I think Shaden as a player has actually improved a good bit in the split. I really like how he plays out a lot of these early games and the way he's able to set up for his laters. You know, last split, he was good, but it's also like when you have Quad on your team, again, Steve, we talked about this, a lot of your game and your life gets a lot easier. So for him to keep this up while Quad moves up to LCS, I think is impressive.
Saves Bradley's life right there, but can he do it twice? Not in the neighborhood this time. Bradley still has flash, though, so should be fine. That's just going to make it annoying for the lane, but Supernova making 2 plays at once. Kenvy's also top lane.
Wow.
Flash early from Surdy. I actually do like that, because if you don't do it, you're probably just dead, but it doesn't matter. You're just dead anyway. Faisal follows up with the flash, 3rd Q, and then Kenvy picks up the kill.
And it's as you said, Supernova being very active on the map in the early game, and I like that they tried to kind of attack 2 lanes with that one, Steve. Usually, we see Diamond and Kenvi sync up a lot in that early game, which is something I like about how Supernova plays it out. But I like this angle too, just getting some space for Toasty in the mid lane like they often do, but also getting a kill for him and Faisal in that top side. It's a really good start.
Heavy action from Supernova's side. You were saying that you thought that they might have the tools to make that action happen early anyway, and they're delivering. That is 2 ganks now from Kenvi as well as a roam from Diamond. Bradley, I don't think he actually backs, though. He did have some biscuits and the refillable potion, so he's just sticking around in lane. Also has the chain vest, so it's going to be really hard for Toasty to ever really threaten a lethal amount of damage on him regardless.
Yeah. And I will say really quickly too, while the Nasus build is usually Trinity Force, the Chain Vest does tell me that he's going for the Iceborne Gauntlet, which I really like this game. There's no real magic damage to worry about on Supernova's side, and I mean, Len is just going to hate his life later on, so...
And Kenvi is not even going for like the early AP build here on the Maokai. Not going to pick up the Leandries, probably
I mean, like...
just the Zeke's early.
Zeke's, or he could be going for Locket as well. I think that would be an angle too, but yeah, like, again, really no reasonable magic damage to speak of. So yeah, I like that move from Bradley.
Man, this is just so annoying, dude. Like,
it
you
is.
can't stop
I hate that it
You
exists,
can't dodge
actually.
it. Oh, Bradley gonna try and still stick around. No,
This
with
seems
Diamond
here.
on the roam, you can't do it.
I mean, which is fine. This is just, the lane's been going fine here for Bradley. They are going to just get that wave in so Toasty can maybe get a recall. But I think right now, in Shaden, you get the first 3 grubs early on with the use of that Renekton Cryo. So now there is that opportunity to play for that grub again that we talk about. That could be very useful because, I mean, Renekton inside, especially with the lead Cert he has at the moment, about 20 CS up, is really strong. Same with the Nasus, even more so inside. He's a problem.
Wow. Chime used the Battle Dance, but Bradley's just 1v1ing Toasty off screen, and now Diamond's going to try and help him out. The moment Bradley saw that the enemy support and jungler were not nearby, he just full sends onto Toasty, and Shaden answers as well. Now Kenvi way out of position here. Chime with the good read. Predicting where Kenvi was going to be, and Kenvi, I mean, he can try and buy time. He can try and waste time, but that's all it's going to be. He will not be able to survive this. Couple turret shots, give the kill over to Chime. Oh! And there it is. Yeah, did not buy enough time to give it execute and deny gold. FlyQuest picking up a couple of kills and punishing Supernova on an over-aggressive play.
Yeah, and I will say again, even though there is that question of interaction and that pressure on Chime to start off these engages, it's still really nice for FlyQuest Comp to be able to get gold early on. Right now you have a brand that's 2-0. And is going to get really close to that first item spike with that extra bit of gold that Shaden's been able to pick up. He's going to be a problem. Bradley, again, that first item for him, the Iceborne Gauntlet, is also going to make him a problem to deal with.
Yeah, I do love this, again, because of the amount of just AD on the enemy team. But you're still able to do a decent amount of damage, and you can farm up the wave just fine. You get that Sheen proc on the minions, making it even easier to last hit. And the big thing is Shaden, with the 2 kills, has the Leandries completed already. Not another champion on the Rift has even gotten close to a completed item. Shaden is that far ahead, not just in the clear, but because of picking up all the gold from the kills. And that means that this brand is going to be a problem. Supernova, suddenly they had the tools for the early plays, but feels like they're already losing them. They're not going to have a lot of windows here to find advantageous plays. And Diamond just used the crash down in a interesting manner, and Chime will punish him for that.
I have to believe he used the crash down strictly for the shield and just misclicked because he wanted to absorb some of the damage from the Misfortune Q, that double up. But I don't know, man. That was not necessary. That's all I can tell you, Steve.
Yep, that's one of those plays that you just you acknowledge it happened and you move on quick. Shaden is doing just that as he's just focused on the farm in the enemy jungle. He's going to go for another invade here onto the Raptors. About 5 camps ahead of Kenvi. That is a lot for a jungler at this stage in the game.
Yeah, and it only gets worse, especially when you're Maokai into something like the brand. I mean, Shaden's just going to continue cycling his camps, and you're snagging one from Kenvi every now and again. So I'm expecting at this pace, Shaden's going to be up more than just the 1 level he is ahead of Kenvi. That makes him even more dangerous to deal with. Oh, he's stealing more camps.
Yeah, I mean, Kenvi's going to have nothing on the top side of the map. And Surdy's shoving the wave in. So we might even get a 2v2 right here. Kenby will now spot. Faisal should have the information if Kenby is communicating efficiently. Shaden will now see Kenby. In a 1v2, though, you don't have Surdy right behind you.
It's a lot of damage,
over-aggressive from Shaden, but he does a lot of damage. Leandres is completed. Flash forward from Surdy. Shaden could be in trouble, though, and it is just fine for FlyQuest jungler. He's got his top laner behind him. He will get shut down, though. Kenby, with the sapling toss, does have the damage over time to take him out. It was close, but again, FlyQuest, I feel like if they had just been a little more patient, could have gotten more for that. Either way, it's 1-for-1.
I agree, but I still think this 1-for-1 favors FlyQuest quite a good bit. I mean, 30 gets that whole wave in. Faisal is losing out on so much more, increasing this lead to what it is.
Oh, we're just going for it. Yeah, Bradley pops the ultimate, and that is an easy kill. Oh, okay, but we have a teleport mid from Faisal. Pulls up back Bradley under turret, so it will be answered.
That is a nice response, a way for Supernova to get some gold back. But again, in a way, some of the damage is done because it is the 1-for-1. You got to think about, again, the waves being lost by the opponent. This time, Toasty is the one who ends up losing on a lot. It feels a little better for Faisal that he collects some of that mid wave, but FlyQuest are still in an amazing position so far in this early game. Shaden is going to get this second spawn of grubs completely uncontested, and that is that Grubageddon for, again, two pretty dangerous side laners, especially Bradley on this Nasus, who's already been a part of 3 of the 6 kills FlyQuest has. He already has that first item. He's stacking more armor. He's getting
more armor,
too.
man.
Okay, I take back what I said earlier. Late game is, or no, even the early game is good for FlyQuest. There's just no way.
Yeah. I mean, you're this far ahead on the team. Mid lane a little bit in CS, but mostly it's just the fact that Toasty's died 3 times. He's down so much XP, I got to imagine. Although still equal level to Bradley, so props for that. But the big thing is top lane. Yeah, the teleport mid trades a kill back. He's able to get 1 wave there, but the wave still crashed from Surdy, and he's now up 30 CS as the new lane assignments have come through. Bradley is actually heading top lane. You said it already, Grubageddon means that this Nasus can just shred through turrets. And I think Nasus is also happy to lane against the Cassante at this state of the game.
Yeah, does not care. He's totally fine with that exchange. Even though Faisal does have the Bramble Vest, which is pretty valuable, I think he's still going to have a rough go of it because of the attention in the top and mid lane there from FlyQuest challengers. And now it's attention here on the bot side because Shaden and the rest of FlyQuest just continuously using their pressure to collect objectives. Yeah, Supernova got the first Drake, but at this point, FlyQuest are the ones in control of the map. Now they have a Chemtech Soul to play for.
Stacked up 1 already. 3,500 gold as the lane assignments have gone back to normality. As we're 13 minutes in, and it's still everyone where they started off. Chime going for an aggressive play right there on Diamond, just chunking out the Rel. Get rid of that Aftershock as well, meaning that Diamond's going to have a much harder time if they want to make a play themselves. The Misfortune hasn't seen that much action, but we haven't really highlighted how much damage that's going to add to the team fights as well. We said during the draft phase that maybe miss synergy with the brand because one ult makes everyone spread apart, whereas the other ult wants everybody together. I guess technically both of them make people want to run apart.
Yeah.
But I suggest, despite having this kind of quieter early game, is still going to be a big threat as the game goes on.
Oh, 100%. And as long as Chime can help close the gap and set up some good bullet times, and he's going to be able to use that gold well. You look across the board here. First item for everybody on the side of FlyQuest with the exception of Chime. Just again shows how ahead of the curve FlyQuest has been. Yeah, I mean, Faisal's keeping up, which is good.
That counts, you know?
No, not really, though. That's the thing. It's a cheaper item. Okay. It isn't as valuable. It is still good.
Not for supports.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's okay. But the block, it still does matter for Kenby, so I won't discount it fully. But I mean, Locket, Leandres, you know what I'm saying, Steve?
There's a slight difference.
There's
also, while we were talking about itemization there, important to highlight, Shaden took away the red buff from the enemy team, and Surdy picked it up as well. So that means red buff in that 1v1 up top lane, further denying. Look at the CS differential in the jungle. It's just absurd right now. This is like 7 to 8 camps ahead that Shaden is, and also picking up the Rift Herald. So Shaden is having one heck of a game 1 in this best of 5. Hard out jungling his jungle opponent.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it's just been good from FlyQuest challengers overall, especially when we were talking about in the pre-show. These were our champions from spring. One change in Bradley in the mid lane, and despite our high expectations early on, didn't have the success we were kind of hoping for. But seems like they're turning it up.
Crash
in the
down
back
from
half of
Diamond,
playoffs.
but now he's much slower. Flashes
Oh,
forward. They're trying to make the
both
play onto Sajed, but he is just fine with that Bloodthirst, so they cannot get through the health bar as Surdy teleported down onto Toasty.
Oh,
Bradley's
he's
here
dead.
as well, but it's just Surdy that they need. Will solo kill Toasty under the bot lane turret.
I think that feels especially bad because Toasty flashed. And he still died. And wow, Steve, 4,500 gold. I had 15 minutes of the game. This is kind of the FlyQuest we were hoping to see at the start of the split. And while FlyQuest by no means had a bad split, they finished in 3rd place, right? It still wasn't the high expectations, the domination that, you know, a team like Dragonsteel ended up happening. Our team was already in the finals.
Especially when we consider that basically this Dragonsteel roster, who was, you know, the Maryville core, were the challengers for FlyQuest challengers in spring finals. They got 3-0'd. So expectations for this FlyQuest roster at the beginning of summer was they should just clearly be the favorites. No, not again. Not twice in a row.
Oh my god, he's dead.
Surdy!
Oh!
No chill. Okay, he actually could have if he had just flash queued there, but it's all right. We're going to give Toasty one more life here, give him another shot to back off and live. Time's going to keep Kenby away, so this turret belongs to FlyQuest.
Oh, it sure does, and this is just even more gold. You see how quickly it goes down to the extra grub damage that FlyQuest are working with. And that's first brick, too, so this Renekton, very dangerous. Got that acceleration we were kind of alluding to, not just those 2 kills, but he's up 30 CS on Faisal. So, again, FlyQuest, they just have so much to work with here now as we get into this mid game. Again, they have Bradley on the Nasus, who once he gets that Frozen Heart, like he's not going to be able to be dealt with by anybody. Surdy, as long as he maintains this lead, is a similar threat to Supernova. So there aren't too many options for them to try and maybe catch up. It's just kind of all-inning on one of these side lanes. I would say Surdy, just in hopes that you can pick up that shutdown on top of the kill, get some extra gold back in your pocket, and hopefully use that to either set up for an objective, at least fix some of these sideways, or get something out of it.
Yeah, typically I'd say that, like, when you look at this type of gold lead, the way that I see Supernova making it back into this game is some kind of miracle Baron Steel or Elder Dragon Steel, because Maokai good at that, or making a play onto an isolated enemy AD carry, but not actually isolated. Chime and Shaden were able to make it in time. The bolt time comes through, and Shaden does actually have the backup. Sajed just blows up Kenby. They even get the stun under turret. Surdy flash it in, and Supernova are just getting shredded under their mid turret. And now there's no turret. FlyQuest can just keep walking forward. They have Grubageddon. They have all 5 members grouped up here with Herald. This could just be an inhibitor turret going down if FlyQuest won it.
I like that they're still holding on to it. They should still have a little extra time on the Herald. Could use that to just take out the last tier 3 turret on the map there, Steve, after they take this Drake. Like, again, they do so much damage to these structures. We go ahead and take a look at this replay. This feels kind of bad. This is kind of the angle you're hoping for, but it's not like Sajid is alone. He's covered by Chime and Shaden, and this just turns into an awful play for Supernova.
I was just saying that, like, maybe you go for a steal and an objective. Finding somebody out of position also works. Oh, Diamond missing that engage as well.
That feels bad.
This is just not Supernova's game 1. They go for the desperation, find, pick, gank, mid lane. And none of the above actually worked out for them, whatever you wanted to call it. Because FlyQuest challengers are now even further in the lead. Game 1 is cooked. Supernova look rocked. They got hit hard early and have not been able to regain their balance.
And conversely, FlyQuest and ZXT are looking rock solid so far in this first game. I mean, this is the kind of level of domination we kind of expected, again, throughout this split. And it is a good look to see for them. Again, when summer started, we said this was a team going to Sao Paulo. Unless something insane happened. And again, they didn't have the split that we kind of expected, but at this rate, they will be well on their way to face Fear tomorrow for a chance to get that finals rematch.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I love to look at how Bradley's approaching this game here, too. Maxed out the E, 4 points in W, and is now putting more points in Q. The Q's just for farming. It's just stack up. Eventually it'll be a thing, but for right now, you're just untouchable in the sideline. You're just a tank that can wither somebody and catch up to them. That's a Frozen Heart and the plated steel caps as well. This is just full armor Nasus. As the Herald has been dropped, rooted up Chime. Now the engage from Kenby. Really good engage. Follow up from Diamond, and one goes down. Kenby will fall. Curtain's been called. Can he snipe Shaden? No. Bradley is the front line they needed. Double kill to the Brand, who's got all that team fight damage. At the end of the day, it was a nice attempt from Supernova, but they still lose the trade. FlyQuest get a 1 for 2.
And the gold lead is just too big. Again, trying to go for these even numbers fights, it's not going to work for you. Even though they got Chive, it cost them so much more, Steve. And again, it's just, the answer really is just making a play onto someone like Surdy. It's really hard now, especially because he is at that second item mark. I mean, Black Cleaver and the Sterix Gauge. And this Croc is going to be really hard to kill. And Lens, it's tough too, because he's playing Jhin in this game. Any 80 carry player looks at what FlyQuest is playing and just hates the idea of playing this champion.
Yeah, good luck. I mean, you had the curtain call, almost sniped out Shaden, but Bradley's just got a full health bar and all this armor standing in front. It's like, okay, I gotta weave the bullets around this guy to try and do anything. And you only have a collector, so you're not doing any damage to that Nasus. I don't think anybody's going to do any damage to this Nasus, which is, again, why I would say this game's pretty much cooked. If you're Supernova, these are one of those times where as a team, you're trying to figure out, okay, how do we not tilt? How do we keep mental in a best-of-5 series? Because there might have been a couple of oopsies happening early on in the series so far.
For sure. I mean, remember, guys, this is Spiritless, so Supernova don't have to worry about the Nasus anymore after game 1. Exactly. So it's over. They can play Garen for Toasty if they really want to. For those wondering, that is a response to the Nasus mid. And it is unfortunately a very fine champion, so we'll see.
Okay, I love this immediate TP coming in from FlyQuest. It feels like they were the ones setting the trap at Supernova yet again, just trying to find any desperation pick. Faisal teleported it in and might regret that, but he is able to jump away. No, he goes back in. Stuns up. Oh, Lens just gets soloed by Sajed on the side right there. No flash and misfortune, so Lens will survive for right now, but there's no barrier left. Yeah, FlyQuest just have such massive wallets that Supernova are like, I don't even know, man. They got to look for a loan or something to get back into this game.
A mortgage, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, no jungler, too, means
sell the car, sell the house. Yeah.
This deficit is just going to keep getting worse, too, because now FlyQuest are going to get the Baron. And we're at 22 minutes. This is really early, Steve. And with the lead that FlyQuest have, they can look to close this game out in just a couple of minutes.
And that's the mark of the best teams at Tier 2. How quickly can you end a game once you get the lead? It's the developmental league. I mean, LCS teams even struggle doing that concept. But when you look at teams this far ahead, that is what we start to judge them on. All right, you got the massive lead. What's your decision-making from here? Are you going to ego like Surdy right now, taking a 1v2, jumping on a Toasty?
He almost has ult.
Oh, he's got flash as well, so I think he should be fine. Oh, he is stunned up. Now turns it back around. All right, yeah, I think he's actually just fine after all, as Bradley will teleport in and Diamond Toasty will go down. Double kill picked up by Surdy. But like I was saying, what decisions are they making? FlyQuest challengers at least do feel like they have game plans because they're using their teleports specifically very effectively to punish Supernova.
Yeah, you can even see, too, the way they're kind of playing at 3 lanes right now. Even Shaden clearing out this bot wave. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
again, this is just what's going to happen when the game is going the way that it is. Sajed can do so much damage over the wall here, and I think that FlyQuest challengers just need to put the final nails in the coffin of Supernova here. Curtain has been called. 1-shot, 2-shot, 3-shot misses. 4th on Chime, not enough. So they will just turn their attention to the top turret now. Again, 6 scrubs plus the Baron. FlyQuest challengers can just destroy the base of Supernova.
Yeah, they've just congregated to these side lanes as Shaden's been solo pushing bot the whole time. And just like that, Supernova have lost 2 inhibitors. There's really no response available to them here. I mean, they're down 16k. FlyQuest, they could close right now.
Yeah, Kenby is spawning, but Faisal's up in 15 seconds. FlyQuest challengers just hit the turrets, guys. I mean, we're going for a dive underneath. Kenby's going in thinking, all right, let's end this one right now because FlyQuest challengers just absolutely decimated the team right below them in the seeding. And early on in this series, at least, making a pretty strong argument to silence the doubters, saying, yeah, we are one of the most dominant teams in the league. If they can do games like this, FlyQuest go up 1-0 in the series.
Wow, Steve, there's not a whole lot to really talk about there. FlyQuest just owed them, start to finish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can talk about who is the top performers, I suppose.
You're right.
If you had to give a player of the game, this is the time to voice your opinion, Beatdown. I think everybody carried their weight. You're going Shaden. All right. Well, welcome as well, everybody from LCS. I guess that series is all wrapped up. That was Game 5. We got Game 1 of our best of 5, and that was a schlacking, man. FlyQuest Challengers, and this guy on your screen who was like 7 camps up over Kenvi at 15 minutes in the game, just crushed everybody.
Yeah, I think he just did a really great job with the early game and how he was able to choke Kenvi out of his side of the map, denying resources, leading to that very lead that you talked about. And I think overall, he was just playing a brand really well. And there's an argument for many members here on FlyQuest Challengers, but yeah, that's my vote.
Yeah, and you had even said it during the draft phase, Beat, that the brand can clear so fast if you have priority in your lanes, which it seemed like they were drafting for anyway. You can just take away camps from the enemy so quickly that they can't respond. And the only chance that Supernova had was that mid lane to try and maintain priority. When you're against the Nasus, it just felt like Toasty had no answer into that. He opted into the Corki versus Nasus matchup, so Shaden had all the priority he needed, and he used it, taking away so many camps, Raptor after Raptor, and it's just like Kenvi couldn't get into the game.
No, but you know what? Good thing for Toasty and Supernova, like we said during the game, there's no more Nasus for the rest of the series. This is Fearless Draft, so now Bradley's going to have to cook on something else if they want to find an overwhelming advantage like that early on, because that was something.
And Fearless Draft in best of 5, let me tell you, everybody, if you haven't experienced one yet, it gets very funky later in the series. If we get to Game 5, there are 40 champs that are not available for either team, and we get into some really interesting comps. So thank you for joining us from the LCS. Stick around, because we're going to send it to a short break before we're back for Game number 2.
Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
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 Dermaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
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 Here's a fact that'll stop you in your tracks. Teens who vape can be exposed to toxic chemicals like formaldehyde. Know the real cost.
I'd give the back-to-back to Yuji. In this league, like right now, there's no like really standout player. But I mean, I have to give it to someone on PSTL because, you know, they're really having a good regular season split. I just think Yuji, like he just has aura. Like their lanes are always like perma fighting, like really flexing on everyone, and then everyone's just always thinking in the back of their head, like, where's Yuji? Like I'm actually scared, bro.
For me, I'd have to go with Yuji for the back-to-back. I think Maryville is definitely the strongest team this split. Like, everyone knows that, and I think it's right for someone to be on that team. And I think Yuji, strongest champ pool. Almost every game he's playing a carry, and I think this meta right now is kind of centered around jungle. I think laners play around jungle well, and I think Yuji is just like a strong, consistent leader on the team, and easily it's Yuji for the back-to-back.
Probably gonna pick Roamer. I don't think he's peaked yet. Like, he hasn't played Tier 1. I think he's like too good to play in Tier 2. I think he'd be more disciplined if he played LCS. He wouldn't go for as crazy stuff. Probably play Temple more.
If I were to say overall general, I would say Scary Jerry. Definitely the one that stands out the most when we played against Dragonsteel in the second week after AoE. But overall, in a more specific sense, that a player elevates their team to a higher degree than what you would expect, I would say Toasty Alex from Supernova is a really good candidate as someone who can increase a team's potential, especially when, like, even though they already have great players, Toasty Alex like brings them up to the next level through his communication and his supportive playstyle.
I think the MVP for Summer Split is the Dragonsteel Yuji, because he was the best player on the best performing team. Yuji was the best player in regular season, and that's just period. Nothing else to say.
I think it's got to be either Surdy or Zamudo. Maybe Surdy because clearly he's proven he's worthy off just solo queue, considering he's 2k LP. And for Zamudo, I think he's on the best team, and clearly, you know, it's clearly for a reason, you know?
I think the easy answer is Surdy. Just knowing him as a person and as a teammate, I feel like he has the competitive drive that some people don't. And I know it's like easy to say, like, oh, he's my roommate and he's my teammate and we won CLO together, or like he carried me or whatever, but I've never seen the competitive drive that in one person from anyone I've ever met.
My most valuable fastback award would have to go for Yuji. I think he's a very consistent player, like last split and this split too. I think he's always he's a big fastback for his team on like winning games. I think that mid jungle has a lot of synergy, but I think Yuji is really good, yeah.
Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
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 Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Here's a fact that'll stop you in your tracks. Teens who vape can be exposed to toxic chemicals like formaldehyde. Know the real cost.
Blink and you missed us. We're back here getting ready for game 2 of FlyQuest Challengers versus Supernova. And Blink, you might have missed game 1 because that was over fast. And FlyQuest NZXT Challengers crushed their opposition. But it is full fearless, and I think a big part of that beat, we were talking a lot during that break, the Nasus mid lane really threw a wrench, as we see during our post-game breakdown presented by The Real Cost, that nobody could hurt the Nasus.
Hey, all you need to do is look at these drafts, see Jhin, Corki, no other source of real damage, and see Nasus. And there's not much else to say, especially with how much activity FlyQuest had in the early game. There was a little back and forth, but after the first 2 kills that Supernova had gotten, FlyQuest just started to run far away with the game.
And remember that the first gank happened mid lane, and it was Supernova trying to kill Bradley on the Nasus. They actually gave up first blood and didn't get one in response. And then Diamond spends 2 more roams mid lane, neither of which get anything either. So they put a lot of effort into trying to get their Corki into the game. But because everything was looking at mid lane, it also allowed top lane to kind of fall apart because Surdy was just a monster, topping the damage charts on Renekton. When there's a brand in the game, a misfortune in the game, even the Corki on the enemy team doing a lot of damage, but Renekton, like really, Surdy really did step up, and it feels like a lot of that went under the radar because of how much we were looking at what the brand was doing to the enemy Maokai jungle and what Nasus was doing in the mid lane, but Surdy was consistently just carrying a lot of those fights as well when they did break out.
Yeah, and I think for a player like Surdy too, who I think we could all agree to, even though he did end up getting, even though he did end up getting this far in playoffs, even though he didn't have the best split, I think he as a player kind of is that kind of guy who can take over games when you put him on Renekton, when he is able to get leads like this. He is a problem. And I think for a player who a lot of people have been kind of talking about, on socials, us on the broadcast, thinking like, promote this guy. Why is he still here? He should be in the LCS. I think still being able to make those statement games, especially this late into summer playoffs, I think is really important for him trying to make a case for himself.
Yeah, I think Surdy's got one last chance to make that case for himself, because if we're being honest, he wasn't playing at that top level as like the definitive best top laner in the league throughout the majority of summer split. But if you can end strong alongside all the hype you've gotten from the social media and like the solo queue grinds that you've done, this could be the period at the end of the argument for Surdy to make that push to LCS. So I think pressure's definitely on. But also, if anybody can deliver during those high-pressure moments, I think you can rely on Surdy to be that guy. You get to counterpick as well, because as we see the first couple champs come through, Supernova lock in Rumble first.
Yeah, so I mean, Rumble's been pretty high prio for quite a long time now, and I still think it is a really strong champion here. We saw the Kennen hover. I do like that response there from FlyQuest into Surdy's hands, and it's really nice with the Vi and what I'm expecting to be maybe an Orianna for Bradley. Even if we don't see Supernova play mid, I think if those three champions, even if Supernova don't pick mid, I think Orianna would be really nice there for FlyQuest. If they don't take it, Supernova should ban it away, because I think that would be just a problem combination for Supernova to deal with.
Yeah, we've seen the combination of Orianna Vi being a time-told tale, fantastic 1-2 punch, but then the Kennen on top of it, very scary. I was going to say maybe the Rumble could be flex. We have seen a couple of Rumble jungles, but nope, it is going to be Rumble top because the Sejuani's locked in. And Yone for Toasty. Beatdown, you in particular were very impressed with Toasty's Yone yesterday.
I think Toasty had a pretty good series yesterday, but he had an excellent Yone game. That guy was an issue for Blue Otter, and it was, I think it's really nice because you have the Sejuani in the jungle with melee solo laners, which he absolutely loves, and it does kind of make it a little harder for you to go for a mage in the mid lane. So now maybe it just is going to be something more like the Smolder. You are a little more mobile than the Orianna. You don't get that wombo combo, but you still get plenty of scaling, late game damage, and a lot of range to work.
And remember, technically, it could still be bot lane Smolder. We see it more popular in the mid lane these days because you can stack up faster, but that doesn't mean that you can't play it in the bot lane. One thing that we haven't touched on yet, that it's not super big for impact on this. It's expected to happen at some point, but it's usually expected for red side to ban it. Aurora banned by Supernova on blue side tells me that they are not confident to play it, which means that that's basically a free open ban from FlyQuest. They don't have to worry about that if Supernova doesn't want to pick it themselves, because them banning it, I think, is a big tell that they're not prepared.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, it's interesting to do that. I just realized Senna made it to those second rotation bans, which, I mean, considering the popularity and power, that one is a bit surprising there. I also like the Caitlyn shout just because there's not a lot of range right now. And I think Bob Prow would do Supernova very nicely. Now I'm wondering, do Supernova ban Ori? I know they're banning Varus because they're probably expecting Smolder to go in the mid lane. I kind of am too. But I think still Orianna would be super good for FlyQuest, and that could be an option for them to pivot if it's left up.
And I think that makes the AD carry ban, the Varus, a little more confusing because there is the ability to pivot. I like more so the support bans. Blitzcrank's an interesting one, but I guess they just want to remove the ability to pick out things like the Rumble, like the Yone. So FlyQuest challengers, do they show their mid lane or do they go for a support lock-in and hold their flex till the last moment? There's really only one Premier AD carry left, though. I mean, Caitlyn, Senna, Ezreal, Ashe, Kalista, Kai'Sa, Varus, all gone. You already have the Smolder, so you can just lock this in for yourself now.
Yeah, Blitzban makes me wonder if we're playing like Thresh or if we're trying to play Tom Kench in the bot lane, that's probably the things that stand out to me right away when you get rid of something like that. Maybe it is the Neela? Wow, okay, so it is Neela Taric? Wow, they're just going to full send that. Oh my god.
Well, all right then.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Now, do we get the... probably not, because Rumble, you do want levels on early. But I was going to say, do we get the whole Neela funnel strat that has been popular in some high elo solo queue games? If you get the right duo, the right team to pull it off. We saw it one time in LCS. I want to say it was it Dignitas that tried to pull it off? Maybe it was FlyQuest that tried to pull it off. Either way, you funnel the Neela around the lanes because she gets the full XP and shares a little bit with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
But you could also just go for the 2v2 versus the Zeri Bard. That's going to be interesting to track.
This is an interesting comp overall from Supernova. You have engaged with the Sedge. I think she does function pretty fine as a solo engage option. I mean, you have the Arctic Assault, you have the Glacial Prison, so there's a lot of use there. But also with the Taric, you do have that sort of anti-dive there. It is hard for them to jump onto you. You can, of course, get that stun as well paired onto the Sedge who's going to be going in, or even the Neela, which is what's nice about this combination. So there is that angle too, where FlyQuest comp, you're trying to go in really hard as the Kennen. I think that Cosmic Radiance is a really nice answer, as long as Diamond is able to time it correctly. That's kind of the big standout thing for me in team fights. Other than that, FlyQuest, they hella outrange Supernova. That might be a tough thing for them to deal with.
And they also have their own fantastic engage options. You talk about the Sejuani being the solo option for the side of Supernova. FlyQuest have many tools to get things going. Let's see if the Taric is enough to absorb all of them. As we are loaded into number 2, taken to the Rift, Supernova. FlyQuest NZXE challengers. Spam in chat who you're rooting for. S10 for Supernova. As Mr. Ducky has once again been highlighted. Thank you, Kai.
It's actually a Frog Steve, so
it's not a frog.
You don't clean your ears. You don't clean your eyes. I'm not going to really know what to make of you. I think we really got to question your cleaning habits. It's just
there's a frog next to it, but that's clearly a duck.
That's not important, though. You know what it is? If you want to stay updated with everything NACL, guess what? Follow the links on the bottom. At NACL on YouTube. At Watch NACL on Twitter. NACL on Twitch. So you can follow the latest action, news, and inquiry on Steve's cleaning habits.
No, we don't update that. And they're fine, everybody. I'm going to get a reputation here, Beat. You got to be careful. It's the internet.
Oh, it's there.
People run with this.
that's
Look, there's a lot you can say about me, but I'm just going to say, personal hygiene, I take pride in that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Now, if you want to say I'm geographically challenged, that is pretty accurate. And you can check with Rafa for the rest of the list, but you can also sub to the Twitch channel. And we do see the slight change here. So this is the idea behind the whole Neela funnel strat that's going around right now, is that her passive, she's able to get the full experience herself while sharing with everybody else. So you can actually pair her with solo laners and supports in the same lane, and she's going to do just fine. The interesting thing, though, is that they actually have Diamond helping Kenvi on the invade to get the Sejuani a little ahead, while Faisal's sticking with Lens here. So it's not the way that I've seen it in the past, where it's a kind of 3v1 lane. It's actually going to be a slightly delayed one, but it will be the dive option.
Yeah, I do like this angle. We'll talk, I guess, more about it after, because I don't think we have time.
I don't know if they actually can, though. Yeah, teleport. They get that out of Surdy. So it's a real funky start to the game. Surdy has to teleport up there, and now there's nobody to catch the bot. See, as Faisal teleports down there.
Yeah.
So I guess we just got new lane assignments. League of Legends, everybody! Woo!
I really like the way they played this one out as Supernova, because you have the Neela, like you said, shares experience. So Faisal already has that bit of an advantage versus Surdy. The plan for him was always to TP bot side, whether the dive worked or not. And that's why you saw Diamond sync up with Kenvi in that topside jungle to ensure that the camps just ended up getting taken away. That's why you see Shaden trading on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
So now you have this opportunity where, Faisal is a good bit ahead in experience versus Surdy. So far it is only, we just look at the experience chart. He's like half of a level up. And I think that's kind of the idea there. And also because Diamond wasn't there, the fact that Neela shares experience too means he's not going to be punished very hard.
Yeah, bot lane should be just fine here, but I want to give props to Chime in particular there, who in the top lane stuck around for quite a while. They let Sajed reset and go solo bot lane, while Chime actually kept hovering Surdy, because Surdy just teleported, and Kenby was looking for the dive. So if they got the dive off and killed the Kennen, that is a disastrous position for Kennen. But when all is said and done, Surdy's actually in a pretty good spot. Yeah, his lane is slow pushing away, but he's up about 11 CS here over Faisal, who can catch some of that. Can be still kind of in the neighborhood, but not going to commit to it. So I think Surdy does come out slightly ahead from all the shenanigans.
Yeah, which I think ends up being pretty important because in this Kennen, big source of damage. That's why you're seeing Diamond go with the Exhaust as one of his summoner spells. Oh, hold on.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
Chime a little early on the Cosmic Binding right there. Could have been bad for Supernova's bot lane, but as it is, they just waste Shaden's time. But top lane is what I was talking about. Surdy, the lane is slow pushing away from him, so he has to burn the flash to get away from the gank.
Yeah, and again, keep in mind, Surdy has no teleport too. If Kenby stays, and they end up forcing Surdy to back, or they get the kill on him, he's going to end up losing a lot. So that good spot you talked about, him being in, could go up in smoke potentially, but Kenby does recall. He's going to go get his respawn camps on the bottom side, and things are back to relaxed.
I like that look from Kenby. Take advantage of the Kennen and the lane position, because if you just let that lane hit the turret and then Surdy get a free back, that is really rough for the Rumble at that point. It's already been counter-picked here by the Kennen. But it looks like Surdy will just bite the bullet, go for the reset, pick up the purchase that he can afford for right now, and Faisal, let's see if the freeze actually maintains. No, he does try and push that in, and it will crash under the turret. So Faisal is able to get a reset off and actually is in a dead even lane position when all is said and done.
Yeah, I think which ends up being fine, all things considered. You didn't get a huge advantage out of that one as Supernova. But, I mean, you're in this low-range bot lane versus a double-range bot lane with the Zeri and the Bard. So I think that main objective of just avoiding the first few levels of that is still a success for them.
I'm not going to lie, Beat. When I see a lane swap like that happen, it's so rare that at the end of it, we just go back to normal lane assignments and everybody's even. Like, you look across the board,
something happens
nobody
usually.
got a lead. And, I mean, yeah, we do have the kind of second lane swap here happening as Lens and Diamond will head back towards the top lane. But I think it's honestly impressive that FlyQuest was able to make the read so well, play around it so well, get Surdy protected. He's down flash and teleport, so he's in a precarious position right now. But all things considered, I think both teams, I'm pretty impressed that at the tier 2 level right here, one was willing to go for that type of play and have such a strong game plan, and the other was able to read it and answer in kind.
Yeah, you can see, as a result, both teams are 1-1 for objectives. Supernova get that first spawn of grubs, FlyQuest get Drake #1, and yeah, the Kennen is no worse for wear. And I think that ends up being a pretty important part of a lot of the lane swaps we see, especially you look into the LCS, what happens commonly is that
it's disastrous often.
Not just that it's disastrous often, but it is actually dictated a lot by who has that bigger advantage in bot lane. Or not bot lane, excuse me, top lane.
Yeah.
Usually multiple levels are the results of lane swaps like these, but the fact that things are even, I think is really nice for FlyQuest, especially because of how important Kennen is to this composition. So again, yeah, really nice response from FlyQuest to get them in this even state.
Yeah, let's see if anything action happens up here. Lens getting aggressive because level 6 has been hit early. That's the advantage they had, the XP lead that Lens had over Sajed. And that will be no summoner spells burned on either side, but a health bar advantage right now. Supernova continue the invade here. Gonna try and push Shaden out, but Shaden actually goes back in because Bradley's nearby, and an exhaust on the Toasty means that the Yone's in trouble. Toasty's focused out, but he jumps back in onto Chime, can't quite get the damage. Chime's out of there! And I mean, FlyQuest challengers can just run away with the fight. Bradley picks up one, gonna chase down another here onto Kenby. One more auto, there it is. Double kill to Bradley, first blood to Sajed, and FlyQuest challengers crack open the early game.
Oh, and they make a big crack at that, Steve. I mean, the fact that Smolder picks up 2 kills and Zeri picks up 1, you couldn't have asked for better gold allocation, and it's a great response overall from FlyQuest. You could see a replay there in the picture-in-picture of what happened, and it's gone. You know what? What matters about that fight that was tough was that Lens wasn't a part of it. So the numbers advantage was really clear there for FlyQuest challengers. This first part is good. You're softening them up, tenderizing them a little for what should have been a pretty juicy dive. But look who's here. Shaden and Chime and Sajid, of course, have that fast track to the mid jungle of Supernova. They take advantage of that instantaneously, and even though it looks a little dicey for a second, the fact that Chime lives and the second that Sajid got involved before Lens, it made all the difference.
The last little Bard W kept him alive right there. That's crazy. FlyQuest Challengers just had more numbers. It was a Yone and a Sejuani kind of banking on a dive top lane, but then suddenly they found themselves in a 2v4 scenario. Lens Diamond couldn't get there in time, and yeah, FlyQuest Challengers, like you said, Smolder getting all those kills is really scary. This dragon is coming online already. 72 stacks here. Actually, not stacking exceptionally fast, but stacking fast enough. And the gold is definitely itself going to be pretty big.
I mean, I will say it's not a bad place to be. Like, I mean, as a reminder, you don't stack. It's not like linear. You do stack a little slower early on, and then it picks up as time goes on. But right now,
well, that was fun. Not sending a message sometimes beat, you know, you just want to get in their head, be like, well, yeah, we just press R on you. We'll do anything. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, damn, what are you going to do about it, Asserty, right? It ends up guaranteeing the wave
He's just going to go for the wave. No, I mean, he got the whole wave.
Oh, and now
they're going to make the play out of Faisal, who has the flash away.
Oh,
Stun still lands. And Shaden Flash follows the instant punish from the 1-2 punch of FlyQuest's top side of the map.
And it's just another win on the map here for FlyQuest and ZXT. Kenvi has to walk away tail between his legs, as it's going to be that much harder for Supernova to fight for that second set of grubs. Now at this point, it should be pretty easy for Shaden and the rest of FlyQuest to maintain that priority, because now Surdy is getting quite strong once he finishes that recall and spends the gold he's earned. I mean, you still have another opportunity here as well for FlyQuest. Rotate their bot lane up if they really want to do so, since Surdy doesn't have ult.
I think that in that instance, it's just Faisal staying around for too long. He got the wave and he got the plate back off. You're not going to get the second plate. Kenvi's not around. Playing disrespectfully to the engage option of the Kennen, especially when you don't have your own ult. But at the end of the day, they go back for another lane swap. This is the third time Lens and Diamond have headed at top lane, and it's right as the grubs are up. So this will be grub again, and we don't see an enemy jungler anywhere nearby. Shaden's going for the second dragon stack instead.
Yeah, and I think that's just... I think that ends up being a fine choice there for FlyQuest. You already got the first Drake. I guess they're just not really concerned about Supernova's ability to side lane. But also, it does help that Lens and Diamond did go for that lane swap. I was kind of expecting FlyQuest to do something similar, but instead they maintain their lane assignments, and they just get themselves halfway to a Dragon Soul.
Early stacking always feels good. Especially as a team that scales. It's tough to say that Supernova doesn't scale. They have the Sejuani frontline. They have the Yone, who can hit critical mass with some good carry items. But specifically that Neela is what I'm looking at. Okay, Kenvi I'm looking at right now. Who, a huge chunk of damage right there. With Demolish on the turret. Supernova just want one more plate here. Do they want the whole turret? They do.
Right,
they're going to get it.
They can get it.
Okay. Well, not too bad. Not too shabby. Now, does an answer happen bot side? It looks like Shaden's on the Krugs right now, I'd have to imagine. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to dive.
So, Faisal doesn't have Flash. Surely they're aware of it. Maybe they could make this work, but it would be really hard. I agree. So there is that extra bit of gold that Supernova get with the first brick.
Oh, wow.
What did we say earlier? It's just about sending a message.
Lens was trying to back, and he canceled his back because of that, but he'll still get the wave, so it's like, it's fine, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to really say about that one. You do delay that. That's why you see Faisal cancels his back. He is going to stay for an extra wave. Had he back there, maybe there was the option for Sajid to get extra plates on the bottom side. But right now, in FlyQuest, despite that first brick going over to Supernova, maintain a 1,100 gold lead. And Surdy, I mean, he has Flash, so surely he's fine.
Yeah, no, he's out of there. And we'll flash the ultimate just in case. Equalizer not going to equalize anything. The Herald spawning here in a minute's time, so let's see if any of the teams want to put more priority onto that one. We do see teleport coming in from Toasty bot lane, so Supernova have no teleports for the objective if there is action topside, but everyone's looking at bot right now, so Sajid has to back off. We'll just go for a reset instead. It's interesting to see how Supernova has played out this transition into the mid game. It's all about Lens. The only one who hasn't died yet. Neela is kind of the key to how this comp needs to win.
Yeah, it is still really important for Lens to be able to kind of maintain this trajectory. And with Neela, you're waiting for like 2-3 items before you really start to do some insane Neela things. And it is really nice when you have that Taric pairing with the ultimate too. So there are these opportunities for Supernova to full send and be invulnerable for a couple seconds. So that's kind of the angle that they are looking to play for. So even though they're down at 1,200 gold, it's still possible for them to play this game out. There's just a couple of difficult things for them to deal with. You're still worried about that all-in combo from Surdy and Shaden with that buy Kennen. And also, I think something that makes this game a little harder for Supernova is the Bard. Because when, yeah, sure, that Cosmic Radiance can come out, but then Chime could use that Tempered Fate to just waste a little bit of time, diminish the value from such a powerful ultimate.
And also maybe make aggressive plays while you're on the objective. But right now, FlyQuest Challengers are not going for the aggressive play. They are allowing Supernova to just pick up the Herald as they are establishing control on the bot side. Our observer Kai was highlighting earlier that there's all these wards placed down in the enemy jungle, so they knew exactly where Kenby was and then where he was heading afterwards. That gave FlyQuest the information to say, all right, we want to play towards this bot turret, shove the wave in, give up the Herald, try and get more gold into Surdy's pocket seems to be the name of the game.
Yeah. I mean, part of it, too, is that you're waiting for Smolder to stack, right? So, I mean, as much as they've buffed Smolder's early game, where it is actually reasonable for him to be in a solo lane without getting absolutely dunked on, you're still looking for that 225 mark, right? So until then,
Tempered Fate.
Bradley's just farming. Yeah, that's the other cool thing about Bard.
Yep. Just denies the Herald instantly, and the stun on the Diamond. Supernova were not prepared for that play in the slightest. That's Glacial Prison going out, but Surdy on the flank. He has the Slicing Maelstrom. He didn't go for it. Interesting calls. FlyQuest to actually pull off on the play rather than committing to the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're fine with that as FlyQuest. You don't need to force this one. Instead, the fact that they've used some ultimates, they've used summoner spells, now you get yourself priority over this mid-tier 1, and you get the fast track to your soul point. So it's fine, because when they walk into this Drake, they still have all their key team fighting tools. So I think the restraint's going to end up benefiting them as they try and set up for that objective, even though they are backing, you know, a little late for it.
I'm going to say it, this is the developmental league, so we expect to have players make mistakes and then improve on them, but you just saw Bard Cosmic Bind you. This is not an unknown play, even in just Master Tier, Challenger Tier play, so interesting to see Supernova make that kind of mistake, dropping the Herald. Yeah, they have numbers there, but you're never going to take that when the Bard is right there. Best case scenario, you waste the Bard ult and then you can do something afterwards, but you have to wait so long, you give so much time for FlyQuest to make the counter play. Speaking of, they have time right now to establish control over the river for this Dragon. This would be the third picked up for FlyQuest.
And again, no ult for Kenby. It's a big way for Supernova to start these fights off. And Kennen now, as Surdy's just looking for these angles. They have spotted him on vision. He doesn't quite have flash, so it isn't going to be that kind of surprise play we often see. But if the positioning is there for it, maybe Chime could set him up with an ultimate.
Ooh, Kenby was looking at Bradley right there. Bradley's just playing the good old, hey, look at me strategy right now, distracting Supernova so they don't approach the Dragon, but now they are approaching. Kenby's already half health. He needs to be the one to walk up and try and go for this steal. Bradley's repositioned. Surdy is threatening the flank, but does not have the flash Slicing Maelstrom as Kenby's in the pit right now. Toasty looked for something right there. It's the Tempered Fate, not onto the enemy jungler, so it's a good old 50-50. Shaden wins it. As now everyone's backing away. The ultimates have been used. Nobody goes down on either side, but Shaden
oh my
says,
God.
we see the backline, we see the combo, we're going forward. FlyQuest NZXT Challengers just decimate Supernova in the tail end of the Dragon fight.
And they ripped them to shreds. It's not enough. The fact that Shaden wins the 50-50 flip and secures it, but they win the fight afterwards. I was expecting the Bard ultimate onto Kenby here. Yeah. So when I see Chime using it on the two stun targets, I figure Surdy's going to try and go in with the ultimate and the empowered blast cone, but instead, Shaden is just him, I guess. And the rest of this fight is just too easy.
And Diamond used the Taric ultimate, arguably the most important ability in all of Supernova's comp, when everybody was stunned or looking at Dragon as opposed to in the fight, and as soon as that's down, it's like, well, we still have Vi ult and Kennen ult. Yep. Everybody on Supernova had used theirs, but nobody had really used theirs on FlyQuest Challengers, so they say now is our time to go in, and they get so much for that play.
Yeah, and again, Diamond, his responsibility is to negate a lot of the all-in power FlyQuest Challengers are looking for, and that's why how he plays these team fights, and how he uses that ultimate is just way too crucial. It's the perfect example of what happens when it goes wrong. And
Toasty's got no
this is
fate
the perfect
seal.
example of play safe top.
He's got flash, but yeah, there's no shot. Play safe top. He's the mid laner, man. And he's just out of there. Bradley, unstoppable. 5-0 and 4 is the one to pick up the kill.
It's another turret going over to FlyQuest, their third of the game. And this gold lead is just rocketed up to almost 6,000. Yeah, Lens and the rest of Supernova will get a response in both mid and bot, actually. So that'll actually feel pretty nice, because not only is it 2 turrets, it is 2 objective bounties that they're going to pick up immediately. And if they're able to secure this tier 2 turret, which I kind of doubt, that's a huge amount of gold back into their pockets. They've already claimed 1400.
No, Tempered Fate hits. Lens is now all alone. They turn their attention on the Chime, but he can Magical Journey away. Now they can't get away from Shaden. And look at
they want it.
Coming in like a bat out of hell. Teleports, has the flash, has the Slicing Maelstrom. Might not even need to use all of them because Lens is already down. That's a double kill to Sajid. Slicing Maelstrom on all 3 remaining members of Supernova. They're fighting valiantly, but there's just no chance. A triple kill to Sajid.
Penta?
It's a quadra kill. He's gonna look for the pentakill, the rookie of the split from Spring. Chasing after Toasty, the other rookie that he denied the prize from. Toasty's going back in for the outplay, he got the shutdown! And it's actually the kill over to Bradley for the ace. FlyQuest still win the fight, but they deny the pentakill.
And no Penta feels bad, man, but you still get everything you want from that fight, Steve. FlyQuest challengers get the gold lead right back up past 6,000, and they still remain firmly in control here in Game 2. Man, what a fight. It is a great ultimate coming through from Chime, and you see the teleports as well. You know Fly are committed to this one. And the fact that Diamond goes down immediately, again, he's your insurance in every fight. So the fact that he's gone out of the picture, it's so easy for the rest of Fly to just fly in.
Oh, and that Slicing Maelstrom, man, right before he goes down, just perfect. And I mean, props to Toasty, the sad B emote, as he knows, yeah, this game 2 is also a little cooked right now. But hey, he denied the pentakill from Sajid and made Bradley pick that one up. So a little bit of pride earned on the side of Supernova there.
I think that's the theme for this game. It's about sending a message, Steve.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily about winning the game, because Supernova's chances, they're pretty low right now. And I think it's just been another great game coming through from FlyQuest and ZXT. Again, looking to make that lower bracket run in hopes to play Fear tomorrow.
Yeah.
To get Sec to play top 2.
If that is the game plan for Supernova playing for Pride, I got bad news for them. Pride doesn't get you to Sao Paulo, Brazil. It does not get you to America's Challengers. It's going to have to be 3 wins in a row if they drop this game, which I guess it's not an insurmountable gold lead. It's 6,500. I think the 15-3 makes it feel bigger. It was a bigger gold lead last game, if we're being honest.
That's true.
By this
At
point,
the end,
they were already like 15,000 gold ahead. So this is kind of within striking distance, but it's going to come down to this Dragon Soul fight. I have to imagine 20 seconds on the clock.
Sorry, Steve. It's Smolder Zeri. I don't make the rules, man. 6K might as well be 20K.
Hey,
it's just so
I'm just
hard.
saying, Diamond has the chance to do the funniest thing of
You
all
think
time,
so?
and that is pretty much whip every ult until the most important one. Speaking of, Kenby going a little wide with that one. And now we still have Diamond's ultimate available. Temper Fate lands onto 2, and now the Slicing Maelstrom, he gets it down. Okay, Lens is nope, he's down. Okay, never mind, it's all cooked, it's all over. Supernova fought valiantly here, but FlyQuest challengers just seem inevitable.
Wait, Penta?
Another quadra kill and a second chance at the Penta. You better give it to him this time. Faisal goes into the stasis. He's under the turret, and there's no follow-up. Another denial. Are you kidding me?
You know what? FlyQuest, they'll just have to settle for the consolation prize. It is going to be the Baron Nashor and their Dragon Soul Steve. They get everything they could possibly hope for in this game and then some. And yeah, I mean, you said it, Pride isn't going to get you to LCS or NACL Finals. It isn't going to get you to Sao Paulo, but it might be all Supernova has left because it's another decimated game from FlyQuest and ZXT.
It is absurd that they're able to just crush that team fight, not dropping anybody in the trade, and then get both objectives at the same time. Faisal's going to have a 1v1 against Shaden. The top laner's down a level to the jungler and just getting bopped, man. Shaden says, where's your pride now? Just solo kills Faisal.
And That's 10k up. FlyQuest have the Baron. They have the buff for a couple of minutes now, and still plenty of turrets to knock down, plenty of gold to earn. And at this point, Steve, I'm just gonna ask you.
Okay.
You still think it's you still think this isn't insurmountable?
Well, okay, you know what? I'm going to deflect that question because I think we all know the answer to it, and instead bring our attention to the fact that we started this series by making a statement. FlyQuest Challengers, FlyQuest NZXT on paper at the beginning of the split, a lot of us said, look, they're shoo-ins for Sao Paulo, right? Like, they're clearly the best team. There's really no chance that they should be struggling here. And they did struggle. They were dropping games left and right. Yeah, they were winning the majority of their series, but still dropping games that felt like they shouldn't have, as Surdy is getting engaged on right here. Slicing Maelstrom still goes down, and he will fall. But he does a lot of damage on the way out, and Diamond using the ultimate is trouble for Supernova, but good look from them right there. We'll see if it actually matters too much. But at the point I was saying is that this is the FlyQuest Challengers that we expected. They are playing now at the level that we wanted them to. Okay, maybe I'm cursing them as such.
Maybe.
Has to flash away right there. Interesting
Got
setup.
a lot of damage in. And it still is going to make room for FlyQuest to get this tier 3 turret down. There's a wave crashing bot, so after this inhib, that's just another structure that they're going to pretty easily be able to knock out. Now,
it might still end the game with a 4v5, like unironically.
Yeah, it's not impossible, especially because Kenby doesn't have ults.
5 seconds.
They don't have ults.
Well, let's see if FlyQuest can do this. So they have Shaden ultimate to go in for the final push, for the final engage. Teleport from Surdy, and Supernova have to back all the way off. They don't have the Cosmic Radiance. They don't have the big teamfight engage tools of the Glacial Prison or the Fate Seal, so they just have to try and hit these waves. And FlyQuest Challengers, they know that. They know that even though they were at 4v5, they just got to let Surdy respawn, teleport in. There's one last Nexus turret up, and FlyQuest Challengers are putting the screws to it. That Cannon Minion is doing a lot of work right there. And now Supernova, they're getting caught out here. They did not find any form of engage. They just watched as their base fell apart, and their dreams of this series, the dreams of Sao Paulo, slowly fall away. Double killed up Bradley as FlyQuest NZXT Challengers go up 2-0 in this best-of-5 series.
Wow, and both games at around that 25-minute mark, no less. It has just been convincing from FlyQuest Challengers and Supernova. I mean, it's just not what we saw from them when they had beaten over Blue Otter yesterday.
Sure, on the Supernova side, but where was this FlyQuest NZXT Challenger all summer, man? Like, if they were playing like this during the regular season, they would have been favorites coming into this tournament. It's looking like Dragonsteel is the only other team that's playing at this level right now. This team is a well-oiled machine. Specifically, this guy denied 2 pentas in this game, but he is your player of the game. Sajed, the 80 carry for FlyQuest Challengers, really stepping up, not only in this game, but in the series and in the tail end of Summer Split.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about a player like Sajed and Toasty, who are both playing in their second split here in Challengers League. Both have definitely shown improvements, but again, it's Sajed who is still climbing on this upwards trajectory. Again, we kind of joke, where does FlyQuest find these 80 carries? But again, it really just shows that commitment this org has to development in the scene, because they find multiples of these kinds of players, these diamonds in the rough that they build up to be something special.
And I gotta say, I still want to give props to the entire team from FlyQuest Challengers. That was a difficult early game scenario. We had the Neela with the Rumble top lane, Tarek Sejuani invading jungle, setting up a dive. They played the dive incredibly well, denying the opportunity. And then they played the re-dive very well. And then they played the third dive well and actually punished and killed Faisal. Like, just their read of the scenario felt so spot on that they were in the heads of Supernova the whole time. And I think that's very impressive. FlyQuest Challengers, can they make it happen for a third time in a row? Because they only need one more game to sweep Supernova out of the tournament and continue their bracket dream alive. We're going to send it to a short break before we're back for game number 3.
Psst. Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Dermaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Here's a fact that'll stop you in your tracks.
Teens who vape can be exposed to toxic chemicals like formaldehyde. Know the real cost.
Introducing your second team All-Pro for NACL Summer 2024. In the top lane, Dragonsteel Zamudo.
Oh, he didn't even land the keeper's verdict, so...
That's what I thought. I thought he was dead to rights because of that.
I'm wondering, too? He just gets the flash?
No way!
Oh! Really nicely done.
In the jungle, FlyQuest NZXT Shaden.
Oh my god, if there was a moment to do it, if there was a person to do it, it might just be Shaden. We've seen him make the difference time and time again. He's in there, and he gets it! I told you he was better! And Zamudo goes down too! FlyQuest are absolutely smurfing it!
In the mid lane, Fear X Starforge Aboyzalov.
Is this going to be the make or break moment? XU not really wanting to give his life for it, but it looks like Music was willing to. Rovex goes in with the Zenith blade, but now Blue Otter, they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And that's a double kill for a Blaze Olive.
In the bot lane, FlyQuest NZXT Sajet.
For the first pick, they take down Romer. Baron secured over to TLC.
How much, though?
Kill goes for Bradley, but he's getting chased down by 4 members of TLC. He cannot do enough. A shutdown's going to be found by Sodshed, and here comes the rest of FlyQuest. They hop onto spawn. They'll dismantle the Draven. They'll get a triple kill for Sodshed.
And at support, FlyQuest NZXT Chime.
So Surdy's gone Mega. Faisal's
They're
off
going
to
for
the
it.
side. Chime, he wants
they're
it.
completely split. Look on the other side. They do not have
That's a nice off the line.
Faisal cancel though. Sajed going over the wall now. Big Moonlight Vigil wins. There's the Requiem though to kind of separate them, and they're already taking 2 down with Surdy. And now Sajed's going forward with his own flash. Supernova had no bodies left. Introducing your third team All-Pro for NACL Summer 2024. In the top lane, Supernova's Faisal. But now Toasty has joined the fight, calling right in. Faisal, look at him. He's taking down Quacker. Now he's got free range forward. That scissor is not going to stop you today. Toasty is going ham here. Sammy getting in a lot of trouble now, too. And a double kill for Faisal. Rovex going down, maybe even a triple kill. In the jungle, Fear X Starforge's XU.
Winsome leading the front line. XU's over that wall. He's going to look for the steal. Tenacity in a bad way. Here comes XU. He's going for it. XU. Lawrence XU. Shoo. Send that one straight to Rafa. Know the name or get erased by it. Fear Starforge. March right onto DSG and send them to the hills. Send them to the grave. They're looking to send them to a 2-0 devastation.
In mid lane, Team Liquid Honda Challengers Romer. Megador. Now he goes unstoppable. Romer is a killing machine right now, and so is Team Liquid. That horse is trampling Winthrop. And unfortunately for the Eagles, there is no saving grace here. The Dragon will go over as well, and Romer, he's finding more. He gets them. Romer, godlike. At ADC, Supernova's Lens.
As look at the damage, look at the pain that's being delivered by Lens, who throws another spear. Nice. He's setting up for the Penta angle. He's going after another, and the Turkish Prince, Lens, will fight for Supernova to find their vengeance. And the long con, a knockback from the Emilio. Give him the damn Penta. Let him have it. He's royalty. He's earned it. Penta kill for the Turkish Prince.
And at support, Supernova's Diamond. Requiem going to be used. He's going to do a decent amount of Malignance, burning down Diamond a bit, but Toasty tanking up here. He's able to kite heavily. As Yuji's going to use the Wall of Pain to slow down the advance of Supernova. Here comes Faisal. The engage from Diamond hits. It can be over the top rope with the Weaver's Wall. And Supernova have dashed Dragonsteel on the map early here.
Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
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 Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Here's a fact that'll stop you in your tracks. Teens who vape can be exposed to toxic chemicals like formaldehyde. Know the real cost.
Welcome back, everybody, as the best of 5 series could be wrapping up shortly. 2-0 for FlyQuest NZXT Challengers, and they are destroying the competition. Supernova have yet to find a purchase in this series.
No. They really haven't, Steve. And I mean, wow. You can just see it in the damage charts and in this post-game breakdown presented by the real cost at FlyQuest. NZXT again. I mean, they just find this early game domination and they turn that into a pretty easy and clean win. Both games, again, within that 25-minute mark, just before 26 minutes, just to show you, too, that it's not even that this is like a close 2-0. Supernova, unfortunately, are not giving them a run for their money, and they only have one more opportunity to do just that because, again, this is lower bracket. These are tournament lives, season lives that both of these teams are playing for, and Supernova facing down the barrel of their season being done.
So far, FlyQuest NZXT Challengers have been smoking Supernova like formaldehyde, and this is the team that on paper were favorites coming into the summer split, and I gotta say, it's real relieving to see how consistently they are performing against Supernova, one of the other top performers from the summer split, because there was a little bit of concern, if we're being honest, about, okay, how high can FlyQuest Challengers punch, and are they going to get potentially upset here based on the form they were coming in? I think they're silencing a lot of doubters.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that's a pretty easy statement to agree with there, Steve. I mean, again, these are our 3rd and 4th seeds. FlyQuest, of course, being that 3rd seed, Supernova being the 4th. But FlyQuest showing just such a stark difference between the two of them is definitely a sight to behold, especially for that team that we had such high expectations for at the beginning. Kind of stumbled a little bit throughout the regular split. Have now started to turn it up here in playoffs.
All right, well, let's see if Supernova have anything left in the tank here, as they got to win 3 back-to-back to keep their tournament lives, as well as their chance at NACL Finals live at the Riot Games Arena, and a trip to Sao Paulo, Brazil for America's Challengers alive, because it's looking like a mountainous task at this point. It is full fearless best of 5, so all those problem champions before you see them grayed out on your screen, neither team can pick them, so I think that maybe that could help out Supernova. In draft phase alone, I will say it feels like they've been a little outmatched. FlyQuest have come in with pretty clear game plans as to how they want to disassemble what Supernova's picking.
Yeah, now as we get into this 3rd game, again, some of these problem champions are out of the picture there for FlyQuest, but you can only make that excuse so many times, Steve, especially now with so many of them grayed out. We're going into this 3rd game. Supernova now are on that blue side. Maybe they could be angling for a Senna if FlyQuest don't ban that away. They're usually pretty good about that on red side, but Supernova are going to need to pull out something.
I think that either way, Supernova is going to lock in an 80 carry early. The fact that there were 5 marksman bans from FlyQuest side, along with, I think, 3 cumulative from Supernova, plus the 2 from the game 1 that weren't playable anymore because of full fearless, as well as the 2 early 80 carries picked from FlyQuest, meant that Lens's champ pool was just so pinched. Oppressively so. Oh, but we do see a pivot. The Aurora had been banned on blue side by Supernova, but maybe that was a psyop. I mean, now they actually leave it up, and this time around, they do lock it in.
I mean, it's either that or, FlyQuest, you do recognize this is a high priority pick, so there's a really high chance that they're just expecting it and are ready for it. So now the question is just going to be what's the answer? What's the comp they're looking for? I think Azir is going to end up being a fine pick because you should be able to wave clear pretty fine. You can keep the Aurora away from you with the ultimate, and you still have time to pick something in the top lane if it ends up being Faisal who pilots the Aurora.
I guess it could be. Typically, we've only seen her in the mid lane, but theoretically, you could
a one top game
around. Oh, did we? Oh.
Jenkins played it, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Thank you for educating me on that one, Beatdown. But we'll see where they want to put it, because right now the Azir's locked in early for FlyQuest Challengers, and like I said, an early 80 carry lock-in for Lens as well. This does make sense to me.
Yeah, and I mean, Diamond was also going to be playing that Lux alongside Lenz's Caitlyn, so it was banned away in that last game during that second rotation. This is a really strong bot lane duo that, we don't really have to talk about it too much. You have range, you get hit by a binding, good chance you die. You're playing for a lot of early game pressure. You're looking to stack a lot of early game plates and snowball that.
And I will say, it can get crazy snowballs rolling, but if it doesn't, this bot lane looks kind of useless. So, yes, I like it hypothetically, but it means that now there's pressure on Lens and Diamond to deliver, whereas so far this series, they have been struggling. I think Diamond a little more than Lens, surprisingly, has not looked fantastic in the last 2 games, and he is the most veteran voice on this team. So, a lot of expectations on him to now step it up as their backs are against the wall, but it's Kai'Sa locked in for Sajid.
And I will say, Sajid is really good at this champion. It was the champ they played in their one win against Fearx Starforge before they got sent to the lower bracket as well. And Sajid was a big reason they won that game on this Kai'Sa. He was picking fights really nicely. He's had a lot of clutch plays, and he's probably looking to do the same thing. I mean, you're going to get owned in the lane phase, so the hope is that you just fall a little behind.
Yeah.
And you could do that later.
Heavily outranged here with your Leona.
Oh,
Once you're level 6, though, you can always threaten the all-in. So I think that's generally the game plan when I look at this type of comp, unless you're a jungler really helps you out early and goes for ganks, because Leona can set you up for those. But the idea is just get level 6, and then you can just threaten the all-in, which helps diminish a lot of the poke angles that the Lux and the Caitlyn will have.
Yeah, and I do like those second rotation bans from FlyQuest as well. I mean,
yeah.
Lee Sin is good because you probably looking for an 80 jungler, one that can be very aggressive, be very proactive. So you remove that option from Kenvi. You remove the Poppy, because there's a lot of dashing members on the side of FlyQuest as well. And it's good calls from them.
Ivern and Camille bans as the final ones from Supernova. Interesting to see. The Ivern I like because the shielding can just nullify a lot of what the Lux and the Caitlyn try and do. But Camille, I think, is a little telling that maybe they want to, because they're probably going to have to blind pick their top lane, and they're going to pick something that they don't want the Camille to be available for. But no, we actually have FlyQuest challengers lock in Ornn, and we're going to go jungle counter pick.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I mean, you're okay going Ornn blind into the situation. There is this opportunity now for Faisal to pilot the Aurora, because you will be able to get a really big advantage. Yeah. It is really miserable as a melee player to have to play into this champion. Honestly, it's miserable as some range champions. It is pretty oppressive in that lane phase. So we'll see how Supernova want to play this one out.
And that's partly why I was confused by it, because you can wait to see where the Aurora is going to go if you hold your top lane counter pick. But I guess they are going to go for a more traditional front-to-back fight and would rather have a jungler that can try and punish what Supernova is going to do. Because if they have the opportunity to go for something that can gank early, maybe like a J4, potentially they go for it and try and punish this bot side that is very immobile while you have the Leona. It's Olaf and it's Skarner locked in for Supernova. So Skarner jungle, presumably, with the Olaf top lane, and then that will be the Aurora in the mid lane.
Yeah, so you do have those options that you can play out these fights later on. I think Skarner has really popped up and is just really good at setting up a lot of fights. It's kind of similar to Bard, just because of how you could set up fights from these more unique angles that most other champs in the game can actually go for. And wow, okay, so they actually do lock in the Amumu. I mean, I think that ends up being fine. It is a little tough into the Olaf, because of course you can just ignore that. But as for the rest of the comp, Shaden gets in there. He pops that Curse of the Sad Mummy. You shred MR as well, so it feels really good with the Azir on your team. And of course, it is great paired up with Leona and the Ornn.
I mean, there's no like huge misfortune type combo, but you still do allow your Kai'Sa to get onto backlines with this, and the Azir can output a lot of damage. Look at the CC, look at the engage tools, look at the just raw team fight front to back that FlyQuest challengers have here. It's going to make Supernova approach this one much more creatively, because this Olaf can get through all that CC, but his health bar is going to be struggling against the DPS of a Vizier and a Kai'Sa. So Faisal is going to be interesting to track in these fights, as well as the Aurora, who can try and get behind all this engage as well with her invisibilities and her dashes.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at Supernova's comp, I think another thing that stands out for me is that a lot of the CC is really just on your jungler. Kenvi has most of it. Yeah, Diamond has that light binding. I mean, it isn't as much. It isn't quite the same as having like a Leona on the opposing side like Chime. So Kenvi is going to be the one trying to start up a lot of these fights, using that E to be able to catch out members like Sajid and Bradley, who are maybe a little out of position, hit them into a wall, set it up with the Impale so that your team can blow them up.
Let's see if Kenvy's got it in him, because so far this series it has been Shaden with Kenvy's number firmly dialed in his phone, calling him up saying, hey, where you at? I just took your Raptors. And I think that chat is catching up to that trend. FlyQuest challengers getting more spam than Supernova so far. Make sure that you let your voice be heard. Supernova fans now showing up here. Spam SN if you think they can take it. Spam Fly C. I think FlyQuest NZXT will take it. A late invade here from Supernova as they denied any early fight from FlyQuest challengers who went for the early invade. I wonder what their game plan is here. They have 3 grouped together. They're probably just going to take away the bottom camps.
Yeah, it seems like that is the angle. They're actually just guarding Kenvy so that he can start on the Wolves. It could just be a setup for an entire split map here, because starting there means he can just work his way down to the blue, to the Grump, and if that ends up being exchange, I mean, this is Kate Lux. This is so very legal, Steve. This is so allowed. Kenvy is well within his rights to do exactly this.
But it is important that Chime noticed that. Chime actually walked into the jungle just to check, so that gives information to Shaden to know, all right, my bot camps are probably all gone. Bradley will even drop a ward down here early at level 1. So Kenvy spotted now. This means that Shaden can safely walk towards the top enemy camps.
Yeah, I will say another thing, too, about Supernova's comp. Another thing I didn't mention is that Between Worlds from Toasty. It isn't exactly like a stun, but you do lock people into that space with the ultimate. So that is something that Supernova can look to play with. And you know, an interaction I'm suddenly curious about? You know how the Skarner E, when you hit walls, it stuns people? I wonder what happens if you ease someone into the Aurora wall. You know what I'm saying?
That's really interesting. Does it work on Camille? Because like the Hextech Ultimatum is probably the closest comparison to Between Worlds that we have in the game.
That's true. I don't know, because I've never seen those two in the same game.
Well, we'll cover that when it happens, but right now something important just happened is that Shaden actually went for the full clear topside and was spotted on a ward. Look at the 2 wards. They would have known as soon as Shaden's walking in, so Kenvy has this information. Shaden does not know that Kenvy is right there. Went from taking Shaden's bot camp straight to Raptors, and now to catching out Shaden, who is trying to answer the split map jungle path, but Kenvy this time around gets the better of it.
Yeah, that's a great shout. I really like that pathing from Kenvy too. Takes Shaden's bot side, takes the Raptors, his own Raptors, and then walks his way up to the top side, knowing Shaden is going to go for that exchange. And that path, plus with Toasty's readiness, earns you that first blood onto this Aurora. We already said is a pretty strong champ. Pretty good.
First blood and just out CSing Bradley as well. I mean, Bradley just went for an aggressive trade there, but Toasty has red buff. So Bradley's not going to win these. Toasty's also just up a wave of CS right now with the wave pushing in. So Toasty's in a fantastic position.
Yeah, now, he wants to fight. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can, again, use that red buff. I think that's why Toasty isn't going for the recall to spend that gold yet. Just wants to get as much as he can out of it for the moment here. In fact, he's still not recalling.
Yeah, just going to try and keep the wave frozen, get as much CS advantage and XP advantage, because Bradley had to back and TP into lane here with only the refillable potion and the tome. Okay, Surdy just bopping Faisal right there in the 1v1. And Toasty's just being so annoying. Okay, you know what? Honestly, it kind of does feel like a psyop at this point, because in the last game's draft phase, I said it's telling that Supernova on blue side banned Aurora. It's telling that Toasty is not comfortable on the champion. Toasty looks pretty freaking comfortable right now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great point. And now Shaden, he's trying to go for the invade. This feels really bad. Kenvy, because Kenvy now can start hitting, or has been hitting, his respawn topside cans. And Shaden is getting, you know, level 1 red buff, which is fine. There isn't much of any actual value for this.
He's able to get it. 2v2 bot lane. Lens pulls it off. And Chime will flash directly into Kenvy. That's a double kill to Supernova's bottom laner.
Yeah, and that is huge there for the Kate Lux. I mean, Supernova 3-0 at the moment here, Steve. And now, I mean, Diamond is really low. He has to back, so I don't think there's an angle for any more plays to be taken. But that first space from Lens is going to be very impactful, and that advantage is what's probably going to lead to more late gold.
Yeah, this early game is falling apart for FlyQuest Challenger. Supernova are making it happen right now. Top lane's the only thing that surprisingly is behind. They have the Olaf into the Ornn, and they're actually kind of losing this lane right now. I know health bar is slightly up, but CS advantage heavily in Surdy's favor. But everything else is aces for Supernova right now. Lens, like, double the CS of Sajed. Kenvy's going for an invade here. Shaden will try and catch him. Bradley can't quite get over the wall right now, and Tosi would have been faster on the roam anyway, so... Oh, does Faisal actually get it?
Oh.
He does! All right, well, that was pretty simple, all things considered. Faisal solo kills Surdy under turret.
Yeah, and that's got another thing going right there for the side of Supernova. It's going to make it very easy for Kenvy to get that first spawn of grubs. And because there's really no angle for Shaden on the bottom side of the map as he's going for his Krugs right now, it just means that there isn't even a dragon in trade.
I would like to issue a public apology to Faisal. I was not aware of your game. Now every lane is ahead for Supernova. They actually did just immediately manage to take a lead everywhere on the Rift with that solo kill. He does have to teleport to get back to lane, so he's got to walk all the way up. We'll miss a little bit of CS for this, but you're just fine. You got the Phage, you got that solo kill, and you're going to feel real good about the lane state.
I just want to quickly say, well established that Faisal is a good Olaf player, so unfamiliar with his game.
Well, it's more so the fact that I had literally just finished saying he's the only one that does not have a lead for the team. So,
you know, fair enough. I'll give you that. Well played, Steve.
I'm trying to do wordplay, you know? I'm trying to entertain the people here, Beatdown.
I mean, that wasn't
I know
wordplay,
it's something maybe
but I
a little
appreciate
foreign
the
to you,
effort.
but...
Yeah? All right, we'll see about that, Steve.
All right.
We'll see about that. We'll see about this bot lane play because they know something's wrong.
Okay, but no flashes on Lens or Diamond. First bandit shots misses. The Zenith blade lands. Chime goes under the turret, and Diamond Lens actually absorbed the play and are dishing it right on back. FlyQuest Challengers did not pull that one off.
Yeah, I mean, that BF sword difference really shows in that play there, Steve.
You know what? I hadn't even noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Sajed and Chime noticed. That's for sure. Yeah. So the play doesn't really work. It's a little brutal because you don't really get any other summoner spells out. It should be that Lens and Diamond should have an easier time collecting plates, and this is kind of what you're going for. It isn't the Grubageddon, but those first 3 spawns of grubs, it still gives you extra damage to structure, so that's really nice as the Kate Lux comp. Already taking down 3 plates. I like that Kenvy's hovering in case Shaden overstays.
It also gives XP to Kenvy, who's level 6. Shaden's still level 5, so FlyQuest Challengers can't do anything right here. And Kenvy, I think, is allowed to do this right now. Throws out the ult. Is suppressed in the middle of it, and they turn it back around. Chime picking up the kill. So support grabs the gold, but nicely done from Chime. I think he actually deserved it right there. He locked down Kenvy as the ult hit so that Shaden wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like Shaden was a little ahead of his team there. I mean, Lens and Diamond are so strong. If they're a part of that exchange, that is another kill. It's still fine for Supernova. The 4th plate gets picked up, and they are well on their way to a very early first brick, and you can just see it. They have a big wave. I think they're just going to get it.
Gone. Yeah, that's actually crazy. Before 9 minutes into the game, the first turret will fall. Remember when I said that this lane can snowball, but if it doesn't, it's really far behind? Okay, wait, actually, they don't get it. I mean, they will. Could have. Just one more auto. They thought the wave would have had it.
No, but they were expecting the level 6 from Chime, the all-in with the solar flare, so I think it's really wise of them to back off the way they did, because now, it gets nothing. They still get the first brick at 9 minutes in the game, by the way, which means that there's going to be a lane swap coming very soon, because it's Caitlyn's turn to collect plates elsewhere.
Yeah, and as I'm finishing the point from before, oh, never mind, I don't even get a chance to. Kenvy's going for a dive under turret for Surdy, and Faisal picks up his 2nd kill of the game.
Well, we said we needed signs of life for Supernova, and it's looking like the hearts are beating strong because they are now up 4,000 gold. They are winning at pretty much every part of the map, and all the crucial members have an obscene amount of gold for this stage of the game. Lens already has the Collector, almost has that tier 2 boots ready to go, and you're seeing it. Faisal has to give up potential turret plates, but that's why Kenvy ganked, to get him a kill, to ease the blow of that, so now Lens can just continue cashing in.
Supernova paid off their mortgage, and they own this house in game number 3 here. Bringing it to FlyQuest Challengers right now, who are answering the swap, but they didn't get a single play bot. Look at the item difference in the AD carries. Lens has Collector. Such a just scraps right now as Chime is just trying to clear out some wards. They have 4 people up here, though. If they can pull this play off, this is huge. Kenby's in the neighborhood, but how bad does FlyQuest want it?
I mean, I think they want it very badly there, Steve, especially to deny the next set of grub spawns. The thing is, though, I mean, all of Supernova is here. They can still play for this. And honestly, as soon as Kenby and Diamond walk up, surely this is just an easy thing for them to contest. But it's looking like they're actually backing off. They don't want to fight right away because Bradley got that first move. But still, I feel like they have the gold.
Pokes out Shaden. And look at Chime still in the brush. Kenby's going to walk forward, tries to smite away one, does not get it. And now Kenby out of position here. Supernova did not know how they wanted to approach and get punished for it. They lose their jungler and do not get that fourth grub.
Yeah, I guess they were fine with trying to sneak away one and just posturing to give Faisal the space to get this next wave in. But it does cost them a little bit. It is a missing opportunity there for Lens to get more plates very quickly. But I mean, they're still in a good spot.
Teleport coming in here from Faisal. They want the play, but look at this. Shaden's just solo killing Toasty, who has to flash, take the blast gun away. Now Shaden's in trouble because Faisal's teleport will come through.
Oh, that's big.
Shut down, though, as Sajid takes down Lance. Call the Forge God as well. Diamond's out of there.
Wow.
In that one. Top laners teleporting after the grubs are gone was not on my bingo card, but FlyQuest challengers do walk away with a couple more kills.
Yeah, and I will say it's huge. Sajid is the one to get the shutdown as well. Sajid is
never used the ultimate, so Ragnarok has now expired, though it can be just
they can do
impales
this.
the river. Unfortunate. Faisal does get the kill, though. Rampage onto Sturdy as now Chime out of position because Toasty has rejoined the fight with his own teleport. Supernova do answer back in kind and will maintain their gold lead.
They're really nicely done. I was mistaken. I didn't see, oh my god. I didn't see the teleport from Toasty. That's on me. So it does end up still being a successful play for Supernova. You feel really good as Sajid being able to get this shutdown early, and we're going to kind of see how this started. This is where it starts with Shaden almost going for the solo kill here into Toasty. Ends up paying his life for it. What really matters to me is what pretty much happens after this one. The fact that Faisal gets the kill, and this right here. And Lens just getting all in, the shutdown going over to this Kai'Sa, I still think is pretty valuable. And for the side of FlyQuest, they are still behind quite a bit though.
It's nice to get a little bit of gold on the carries. Sajid in particular getting a double kill. Now Kraken Slayer completed means that Sajid can actually be a threat to the back line, but you're right that more gold picked up by Supernova typically means that the team with more gold is happier. And a lot of that being on Faisal here just cannot be answered in a side lane. 4-0-1 on the Olaf.
I mean, hey, it's not just Faisal. It's all the carries of Supernova who are at the top of the charts here. I mean, Lens, look at him. He was part of all 5 plates falling bot. He has 40 CS up on Sajid. I mean, it makes sense that he is up there in terms of gold, and he's still going to be a problem trying to collect these last bit of plates before they fall.
And now we don't know where Faisal is anymore, at least FlyQuest challengers don't. They have to drop a vision down very shallow in their own jungle, because right now the bottom side of the rift just belongs to Supernova because, and we're still not even 14 minutes in, by the way, never mind. Bradley making the play here, solo onto Toasty, throws out the ultimate. Toasty's trying to get out of there and is able to weirding away from Bradley and Shaden. I think Toasty did enough. Well played as the Aurora.
Yeah, in the mid lane, plates have fallen. So there's no longer that opportunity there for Lens and Supernova to continue stacking. But how about the differential there, Steve? 1,000 gold in plates there over to Supernova. Again, a lot of it is onto Lens on this Caitlyn. It's exactly who you want it to be on here. So I still think, despite some of the hiccups, this early game is going about as well as Supernova could hope.
And now we have another engage here from Kenby. Impale hasn't been used. He does it onto Shaden and kind of carries Shaden closer to the team. Yet again, Kenby just not finding the right plays there, but it might not matter because the rest of Supernova have their sights set on Shaden and will snipe him out of the fight.
Ooh, Shaden feels bad. He's missing some pretty crucial bandage tosses so far in this early game. At least in the side lane, you do see Bradley being able to trade on a turret, collect some gold into his back pocket, but it is still a little costly for you, especially if Bradley doesn't get to walk away.
Yeah, he got slowed down, but has his passive available. Drops down the Azir turret, so Toasty does not want any of that smoke. Anyway, back to the mid lane play, though. I want to highlight a couple of things that had happened there. Just the rotations from Supernova in particular. Toasty has been everywhere on the Rift that he needs to be. Very impressed with his comeback here because we had set up this mid lane, matchup so far as, hey, Toasty's been in great form. Bradley, the only change to the FlyQuest Championship roster, has been looking a little shakier on his return to mid lane, but he was crushing games 1 and 2. This is the Toasty that I was expecting coming into the series.
Yeah, and it is definitely a good look for him on the Aurora here into this game. Has been part of Supernova's a success here in Game 3, but of course we also got to give that credit over to Lens, who I think also was a big part of Supernova's success against Blue Water in their series yesterday. A lot of those games where Supernova were very far behind, and they just out-team fought Blue Water for the win. A lot of that is on Lens and how well he plays out team fights, something I really enjoy about him as a player.
Do 1-1, almost close to that second item as the AD carry. He's going to have to continue to play well, though, because despite the early game going in favor of Supernova, as they pick up the Herald here, 5,000 gold lead just about, they are still facing down a mountainous front line. Chime, Surdy, and Shaden are going to be very hard to kill and also have so many ways to get on top of you that if you disrespect your opponent at any time, if you're playing sloppy really at any point, doesn't matter if you have that gold lead. If you're out of position, if you get CC'd and die, that could be the game. So Lens is going to have his finger on that cleanse button. I imagine a lot of people are going to be looking at him as the target.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with something like Amumu, Ornn, Leona coming at you at full force in these later game team fights. So there is that angle too, because Lens is one of those low mobility carries in the Caitlyn. That is an angle. There is the angle for Saja to follow up as well on that Kai'Sa.
There's an angle from Kenvy right there into Chime. Gets flash out of the support, but Supernova don't need the kill. They just need the numbers there to guarantee that they can push in this turret, and they take yet another. That is now not all outer turrets. It's 3 turrets, but actually one of those was the tier 2 in the bottom lane that Faisal had been putting a lot of work in earlier.
And you can see Sajed, lone defender of this mid-tier 1, really needs to back away because he's in danger. And Supernova will use the Herald to take it out in the last outer turret. I like that choice to just continue charging right onto the tier 2. But now, if there's an angle for FlyQuest...
Call the Forge God as well. FlyQuest challengers do want the fight. Oh, but the Call the Forge God just goes wide.
Wow.
Envy, with the movement speed, is able to walk away from that.
Yeah, I mean, really huge there for Supernova. You commit a big ult with that Call of the Forge God, and it kind of gets you nothing, which feels bad, because there's not a great chance FlyQuest could fight for this next Drake. It was possible, but now that Ornn ult is gone, you just abandon it. This is just 0% chance.
Yeah, I mean, you have the big engaged tools, but unfortunately the cooldown on them a little long, so if you do not work out the first time around, it can take a while before you can go for another one. I think it should be actually, you know what? It might not be up for Dragon. I was about to say I think it'll be up by then, but now I'm looking at the timers, and that could be a big timer for Supernova to fight and not have to worry about Ornn's engage.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's just not going to be up, and it's not possible for FlyQuest to actually fight for this. So instead, I mean, I want to see what they're going to be able to do maybe elsewhere on the map. There's no top tier 1 to trade for, as they already took that down. There's a chance for Surdy to just push this top wave out and hopes that maybe FlyQuest can get some kind of pressure topside, get a little vision around that soon-to-be spawning Baron. But I think for the moment, they're just fine to turtle up towards that mid lane.
Yeah, there's no shot of a contest here. Supernova are on the Dragon far too fast, but Surdy did not even commit to the top lane shove. So it's going to bounce back towards them there. Looks like the wave is bigger on blue side than it is on red. Although, theoretically, they should have been the same size. Maybe that's just the midi-map playing tricks on me.
Maybe.
Let's get a catch-up. Actually, it's slowly pushing in. Yeah, Surdy had an opportunity to get another wave there if they had made the read that everyone would be on Dragon, and then they could have had people hover Surdy. So FlyQuest Challenger still showing that they are not the perfect team. They will not always make the 100% optimal decision, but the decision they're making right now is to make a play onto Toasty, who throws down between worlds, and that is just enough. Toasty's out of there.
Yeah, I mean, nicely done. Uses the ult to get away. He has the Malignant, so it'll be up very, very shortly as well. So nice play. It's a tough situation for FlyQuest. When you're in a position like this, those kinds of plays are pretty much all you have, Steve. And yeah. Toasty's not even letting him get that. So Supernova maintain this 6,000 gold lead. Kenvy, of course, invades Shaden's jungle again, as is his right. considering the lead his team has.
Well, part of the reason I had said Lens is going to be the target from the side of FlyQuest Challengers is because you just can't get on Aurora.
Nope.
Her ultimate just denies you any access to her. She's also got to cross the veil to go incognito and just jump away. And that means that FlyQuest Challengers, if their game plan is shut down Aurora, I know it's a juicy shutdown that you get, but not going to work out. And it's actually just not going to work out in general because Supernova are the ones catching out Chime in their own jungle, catching out Shade, and that is a 2 for 0 right at the Baron spawn. Supernova are roaring to life in Game 3 and in this series. 6,500 gold ahead, and with this Baron buff, that is getting to insurmountable leads there. I know I was joking about it earlier for last game, but this is looking like FlyQuest just do not have an answer.
Yeah, and I will say too, they are cutting it a little close to the wire, being down 0-2, but better late than never for Supernova to really wake up in this series. Now they have that Baron buff in their back pocket. They have an 8,000 gold lead to boot, and they just spent all the gold that they earned too, Steve, so they're very strong at the moment.
And with Baron buff, we imagine more turrets will go down on the bright side for FlyQuest Challengers. And I know I'm grasping for straws here, but if you're a big old FlyQuest NZXT fan, you can say, hey, there's only one more turret they can take, you know, that tier 2 top turret. And we've lost all the other ones already.
Yeah.
At this stage of the game, it's still pretty difficult to go for... Oh, never mind. I cannot see. Thank you, Kai. I am legally blind. I know it's a tough condition for a shoutcaster to have, but okay, there's 2 turrets to take. Never mind, it's all doomed. What I was gonna say is that it's hard to siege onto the inhibitors at this early in the game, especially against like an Amumu and a Zir and Orin. Their engage options are just too strong. But the tier 2s, I think, will just all fall here.
If you want to grasp at straws, Steve, I mean, the best thing you can really go for is a play like this.
Onto the CC Immune Olaf was ill-advised as Faisal just turns it right back around. FlyQuest just simply don't have the damage to chew through that health bar. It's only Sajed that could do it at that juncture and was not willing to go that far forward because look at Bradley. He's just hard committing to the side lane as Chime's now stuck between worlds and will fall. Supernova just find 2 kills for nothing. And you know what? Now you can hit the inhibitors. I will say, when you have the numbers advantage and the enemies engage just falls flat, suddenly the siege becomes that much easier. Bradley has now joined with the rest of the team. Call the Forge God does go out, but it's just too late. I mean, we're not fighting for anything at this point. FlyQuest Challengers, it feels like this is just them seeding Game 3. They're going to get at least one more fight because Supernova don't want to continue the siege. But the way that that played out, it does look like Game 3 is in the book. Supernova have done so much damage.
Yeah, very impactful Baron buff for Supernova these last couple of minutes here. And even though the next dragon in a minute isn't their soul, and the fact that they've gotten 2 inhibitors down in that last play does mean that with everything they've spent just now, they are a lot more powerful than FlyQuest, and especially Lens. He's got that 3rd item, RFC. He's pretty much miles ahead of most people on the Rift here.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Well, 30, I guess he didn't have the Billow's Breath available. He did use it there, but even without Impale, I mean, Kemby can just stick on you. The slow is going to be too much, and now eventually Lens catches up. Did not fall off that snowball, rode it all the way to a 5-1 and 2 state in this game. 3 items completed on the Caitlyn as well.
Here we go.
All right, Chime. He's deep in enemy territory. He's behind enemy lines.
It's the Trevor angle, bro. He's going to stay here for 2 minutes in hopes that his team... It's not going to be 2 minutes, but it's long enough that the team can hopefully get a pinch out. See, he's still there.
He's still there. I mean,
he's probably waiting for the...
Yeah, spawning in 9 minutes. Yeah, he had to wait for the wave to go
9
past.
9 seconds.
And not spotted. He wasn't spotted. We see in the picture-in-picture. They do not know that Chime is behind. This is going to be the flank of all flanks right here as Shaden goes in for the engage. Now they're trying to lock down Diamond, but Shaden's already dead. It just didn't even matter. Looked pretty cool, though. As Tosi is between worlds, still diving underneath the turret, will be the only one to fall here. You have to imagine Alyssa Jed can do something absolutely bonkers right now. Double kill picked up by Lens as the summoner spells are down, but the turrets are falling as well. Surdy never even used called Forge God. Will only land it onto Lens right there. Sajed can now reapproach here. Faisal and Tosi are both out of there as the Impale misses yet again. There's the cleanse from Sajed.
Oh my God.
He does go on a rampage, but Lens's range is too far, but Sturdy's health bar is too big. Diamond does stun him up, and Lens kites beautifully. Supernova have done it, a double kill to close it out for Lens. 9-1-3 as they juke and jive around the CC, focus down the Nexus.
Oh wait,
Supernova,
they're gonna hold. Oh, they don't!
He gets it! With the minions' help, Supernova will win game 3.
And a pretty strong win coming out from them. Again, Lens's Caitlyn was so impactful in that game, and the way the team ended up setting him up for success, I think was really nicely done there for Supernova. But I think Lens is just my vote for player of the game. I think he got a lot of gold. I think he used it really well, and he was just impossible to deal with.
He was able to kite out those fights. There's only the one moment where he died when that crazy teleport shenanigans was happening topside that you can really hold against him. But they took bot turret at 9 minutes, 15 seconds into that game. And he had such a mountainous lead that I got to agree, Lens is clearly the player of the game right there. The 80 carries are really stepping up right now, Beatdown. And they, I mean, Sajid had won a player of the game. Now Lens picking it up here. I think that this competition is starting to heat up.
A little bit. I mean, by no means. Don't mistake it, guys. Despite a really great performance from Lens and the rest of Supernova here in this game, they still have their backs against the walls. They are still one game from elimination and no longer having a chance to make it to finals at the Riot Games Arena, and of course, America's Challengers in Sao Paulo. So this is only the beginning of the climb that Supernova have to make.
Yeah, but if Lens can keep up performances like that, 43 CS advantage at 15 minutes.
That's pretty
good. Is absurd. We'll see if Supernova have another one of those in them. They're going to need 2 more in them if they want to keep their tournament lives alive, or if FlyQuest NZXT Challengers can end this series with this next one. We're going to send it to a short break before we figure that out.
Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
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 Dermaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
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 Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Here's a fact that'll stop you in your tracks. Teens who vape can be exposed to toxic chemicals like formaldehyde. Know the real cost.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the worst league game show ever. I am Josh Howard, and I'm joined here by Levitate, Dark Wings, and Toasty. And Toasty, you seem to be the only one who knows what we're about to get into here.
Yeah, I'm screwed, bro.
Toasty, what champion is this?
Braum.
You would think it might be Braum, but it's not the answer I'm looking for. This one was Lee Sin.
Yeah, I lied. I'm not winning this one.
Dude, I told you it's actually impossible.
This game show was created to troll all of us.
What champion is this?
I know it's not it, but just go Gragas.
Gragas, come on, guys. That's way too obvious.
Look, I need to warm up.
Cass, like the beer brand.
Alex is just being discriminated.
And I had to go first.
Hey, have you considered being older? Who would the rapper Shaggy 2 Dope main?
Shaco.
Shaco? That's actually it. Because he's Shaggy 2 Dope, he's part of the Insane Clown Posse.
It's like, go.
No.
I had Cyanidas put together. I gave her a bunch of states and asked her to turn them into League of Legends champions. What champion is this?
God.
That looks like a Giga Chad.
It's giving me like a rock vibe. Like I think it's Malphite.
Oh my god. Toasty, you're right. It was Malphite.
Let's go.
I was just about to say I might win the entire game with 300 points too. But, and then he just got it. Like my brain is too small for this, man. Like I can't even CS like properly.
Too many champions.
What is Gangplank's favorite food?
It's not an orange. If it's an orange, I'm gonna break my monitor.
This is actually the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
It's pie.
Pie?
Super pirate.
You know,
that's actually good.
I like that. I'm gonna give you 10 points for that one, but no, it was actually
I might win worlds before I win this game.
Game state 500. It's a square!
Guys, this one was very obviously Zach. Who would Echo main?
Sona, because she can't hear, or she can't say anything.
Ooh, you're on the right track though, because Echo would have made Lou.
Right now we're in the box, and you have to be like outside the triangle.
I just want to say TF, but that's just too obvious.
It's very obvious.
I'm gonna guess Yorick.
It is. It's Yorick.
Oh.
What?
Because it's a spade. He digs a spade and he loves his wife. It's Cassidon's favorite food.
He probably told his mom to be quiet. His mom has no control of what he eats. So he's gonna be eating some like mac and cheese.
I don't understand the thought process.
I like that.
I don't understand the thought process, but I do like the answer.
Darkwings and Toasty are like scaling, and I'm just like stuck at the bottom. Like, I'm still lost, bro.
Who would Mordekaiser main?
So I did my studying, right?
Yeah?
And I watched the previous one, and this was the exact same question, but
Oh, that's cheating. No,
but I
that's
don't
cheating.
know if you were drinking enough water to repeat. But I have no other answer, so I'm just gonna say Hui because Hui.
Oh my god.
I forgot.
This is why you watch NACL.
This is why you watch. This is why you watch our
there's,
content.
like-
What champion is this?
I swear Josh is gonna troll us, and one of them they're just
Yeah,
gonna be
what-
super obvious.
It was Alistar because he has horns. It's Alistar. Who would the martial artist Tony Jaa make?
Yeah, I know who that guy is.
NACL.
That makes so much sense.
Dude, there's just too many champs.
Levitate. What champion is this?
Say Elise.
There you go. This one is Elise. What is Nami's favorite food?
Oh,
What champion is this?
it's like a chicken.
I know
gonna
what the
go
answer
Urgot.
is. It is Urgot. What champion is this?
What is that? It kind of looks like a
I thought you guys would get this one. This one is Cassiopeia. Levitate. I'm poor now. Why am I so sad?
I don't know, Vladimir.
Because karma's a.
I'm gonna give you partial points to that one. This one, I miss fortune.
Oh.
Levitate. Starting there. What is Kaisa's favorite food?
I'm so stressed. At least I like know how to like click buttons, man. Like my brain is not working right now.
Hey.
I said Baron for the last one, but Kaisa's favorite food is Void Grub.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. These are the points at the end of regulation. How many points would you guys like to wager?
710.
I want to win.
No, don't be lame.
800.
800. Okay, so Levitate and Darkwings are all in, and
I don't
Toast, you're
like
betting
losing, I'm sorry.
800. What did the Fremen from Dune call Canyon when they first saw him insect?
Lee Sin Al Gaib.
That's
Wow.
exactly right.
That's actually crazy.
Oh.
Levitate, double up, Darkwings
Well played.
with 0 points, and Toasty, you bet 800. So we actually have Levitate, 1,420 points, Toasty in second with 1 point, Darkwings, fortunately, you're going to be walking away with nothing.
You should watch NACL because maybe he'll get a repeat in there again, and you should study up.
That's actually the best advice.
Congratulations to Levitate, and good luck to all of you guys in playoffs.
Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
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 Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Here's a fact that'll stop you in your tracks. Teens who vape can be exposed to toxic chemicals like formaldehyde. Know the real cost.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we're getting ready for Game 4 of our Fearless Best of 5 series in the lower bracket here in NACL Summer 2024 playoffs. We have FlyQuest NZXT Challengers still up 2-1 in the series, but they show that they are not immortal. They dropped Game 3 to Supernova, and that was, again, a one-sided game beat. We just can't get close games.
No, I mean, we take a look at the post-game breakdown presented by The Real Cost and just see how much Lens did that game. Because, and it's funny too, not just the damage that Lens had, but the goal difference over time graph. It's literally just a mirror of what we've seen in games 1 and 2. And it's just this time Supernova snowballing a really nice early game lead that they had gotten for themselves. And they did it in every lane too. They were able to generate leads mid, bot, top, and there really wasn't an avenue FlyQuest could play through to get themselves back in the game.
I'm just going to say, we've had so many 25-minute games at this point in this
series.
what
is up with that?
I mean, I guess these players, they got somewhere to be. Whether it's going to go full 5 games or not, they say, let's make them quick. At least it has been high action. The Caitlyn plus Lux combo bot lane was oppressive, and Aurora was a problem. But despite the fact that Supernova, I still think kind of beta FlyQuest into thinking that they wouldn't pick it on blue side and still grab it in Game 3. It's full Fearless. So we can actually update everybody, because going into Game 4, I think it's even more important. We're losing 2 bans on each side. There are now 30 champions no longer available for either of these teams, and Aurora is one of them.
Yeah, you can already see a lot of big popular champs in that current meta are out of the picture, and there are still plenty of strong ones left, but now we're digging a little deeper into that pool, and it will help, because, yeah, part of mitigating how so many champs are unavailable is, again, second rotation bans are out of the picture now.
Yeah, and I will say now FlyQuest, for the first time they have a loss, they get to choose which side they're on, choosing blue side as draft is going to get underway here shortly. That means that they get that high priority first pick. They won't get the same counter pick that FlyQuest, or that Supernova will have, typically reserved for top lane or mid lane. The jungle counter pick did not really work out for FlyQuest there, I'd say, in Game 3. Let's see how that changes their approach to the bans, because so far they've been heavily focusing Lens's champ pool in particular.
Yeah, and I mean, he's getting a lot of respect, I think, for good reason. His Kalista is insane. Just like his Caitlyn was great in that last game. So I am interested if we go to a Game 5 and Supernova end up in a position where they can get that. I think that would be a really powerful tool for them in a situation like that. But right now we're still in Game 4, so that's just the seed to see whether or not it grows later on.
But these are the only 3 bans from each of these teams, important to note. So Orianna was higher prioritized as opposed to a third AD carry, because they can also lock in an AD carry first here. Serdi offering Katarina, and Faisal will answer with a Katarina hover. Love the little banter here between these players, but the Varus either way locked in for Sajid.
Yeah, and I was thinking about actually the Lucian, something Toasty I think played a lot earlier on into the split, and it couldn't be an angle to set up for maybe an AP jungler. Brand is the only AP jungler that we've seen so far, so we could see a mix-up in that regard. I mean, they are still pretty good right now, even though some AD junglers have received some buffs.
Ezreal signals to me, a kitebag style of composition. Ivern has been banned a lot so far this series, but makes it through here and is locked in by Kenvi now. Already, these 2 champions are so slippery, so difficult to really lock down and get on top of just because of how they can play the game. Ezreal just playing from range, and Ivern creating that range with the Daisy to just walk forward.
Yeah, and I think this is an interesting spot Supernova are in, just because of the fact that they've got the Ezreal Ivern, and now when it comes to supports that are up and available, I think a lot of the big ones that people still kind of play, Nautilus is up, Alistar is up, Braum is up, and I actually think Braum is something that is looking increasingly good for Supernova, so I'm curious if they want to get something like that.
Yeah, I think Braum would be perfect here. I mean, you see a Nidalee locked in with a Varus. That's a lot of... And Tristana. I mean, all three of these champs get just destroyed by that shield. But instead, we're opting for the Lucian into the Tristana. The Nidalee, we got to talk about this, man. I mean...
Yeah.
Renekton's already been picked. That's not going to be parrying. We're not even going for, like, a mid laner that can have a point-and-click CC or really any setup for the Nidalee at all. So, I mean, is it just a raw Nidalee going in with spears, just try to find the poker themselves? I don't know.
I mean, you could go... it isn't like the exact combo that you kind of hope for, but maybe we see something like a Scion in hopes that you can kind of use that level 1 that we've seen for quite a long time now to try and get Shaden maybe an early advantage, go for another invade, start on the opposing side, something along those lines. There's still some options for Surdy and FlyQuest to go for, but yeah, it's not as exciting as like Nidalee Renekton, Nidalee Cassante.
Yeah, and it's going to be, again, the shields stopped by a lot of the spears from Ivern as well is something that I'm worried about. The range of the Ezreal, when you see those two champs, I don't think Nidalee immediately. Let's see if Shaden is thinking of something else. I guess it could theoretically be like a bait and switch. Maybe Surdy pulls it out top lane or something, but Gragas, more disengaged tools. You can either engage with it or use the barrel to say, I'm going to deny the opponent's engage, and it's also a pretty decent blind pick.
Yeah, I think that's fine. You have a lot of setup for your team in that regard. I think Faisal is a great Gragas player, so that ends up being pretty nice there. And they're just ensuring that, yeah, they get that support counter pick there. An option for Lens and Diamond to get some potential advantages in the 2v2 early on, but also just a chance to kind of see what the rest of FlyQuest comp is shaping out to be. And I think Nautilus is probably just an easy choice there. FlyQuest need engage. He's the best champ up that's going to give it to him.
Aatrox, I will say, does not perfectly set up the Nidalee, though. Can sometimes, synergize if you're able to get that pullback with the W, but it's rare that you can perfectly set that up. Nautilus would be that lockdown to allow for those spears to snipe their targets. And they were hovering the Renata Glass. I would hate it. Braum, I still think is fair. It's less of that hard engage. They are sorely lacking for engage, but the problem is if you log in the Nautilus and the enemy goes Braum, that is
I think that's what it is.
Almost the ultimate kiteback comp that you could ask for from Supernova.
Yeah, it really does seem like this is a takeaway there, because I agree it would really round out Supernova's comp nicely, but now it's in a tough spot because FlyQuest, I mean, this is, oh god, like, yeah, Karma, for example, that's not going to be a fun duo to deal with. For FlyQuest bot lane, but it's also, it's tough. Braum is not great solo engage, and you're really just kind of leaning on Sajed with the ultimate there, the Chain of Corruptions, to set up fights. And I mean, it's a low cooldown. You can use it a lot. Is it reliable? Is your only engage? No, not really.
Now I'm wondering, can anybody on FlyQuest build Serpent's Fang? There's going to be a lot of shields on the enemy team to absorb the poke of your Nidalee and your Varus. I think at this point, when I look at win conditions for FlyQuest, if this Aatrox is not ahead and online, I just don't I can't conceptualize what the comp is supposed to do. I am struggling to figure out how do they establish priority at objectives other than just Braum walking forward into all the poke that he's going to be getting hit with while he's doing that. And also, how do they start fights outside of just trying to bait Supernova to start the fight on them? We'll see how it works out for FlyQuest challengers, but I gotta say, I'm liking Supernova's chances based on draft in game number 4. That would mean if they can win this, it's an even series, 2-2. FlyQuest challengers trying to deny that, book their tickets for a rematch against Fearx Starforge.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I'm trying to kind of get a read on how FlyQuest especially want to play out these fights, how they want to play out objectives, and they have a little poke with the Nidalee and Varus, but I mean, Varus probably isn't going that poke build, as, talking to AD carries, it's just not really that good anymore. I think Riot have done a lot of work to ensure that that build is dead and gone, and I think it worked this time.
Sure, but I will say, who are you going to be auto-attacking in this game? Daisy?
Yeah.
I guess you're auto-attacking Daisy? Like, if you're in range to hit everybody else, they're probably not doing their job. Although I suppose the Lucian is somebody who's going to be within your auto-attack range if he's trying to damage you as well. But yeah, we'll see how often he's able to get those autos off. Because like I said, right now, I still think that Supernova did run away with draft here in game 4, which could make the series very interesting because, as we've said a few times, this is the tournament lives of both of these teams on the line. It's lower bracket. It is elimination matches, and it is the chance at challenging the number 2 seed for the final spot in Sao Paulo, as well as for the finals at the Riot Games Arena.
And speaking of, tickets are now live for the NACL Finals, of course, like Kanga said, at the Riot Games Arena. So go ahead and click the link that is most certainly popping up in Twitch chat. And while you're at it, tell us who you got in this series. Are FlyQuest going to close things out here and now, or are Supernova going to take us to Silver Scrapes and the most fun part about casting Fearless?
Yeah, that game 5 is crazy because neither team gets a ban. And yeah, there's 20 champions banned throughout the series, but when you can't deny anything else from your opponent, you better hope that some of the OP stuff made it through. I'll give you one. Senna has been banned every game so far, so that has not made it through. So maybe that one would come up as the next priority. But again, it all is hinging on Supernova picking up that win. So let's talk about how they can do so. Usually that comes down to the jungle pathing. We're not seeing anything crazy from the Ivern early, but also not seeing any early invades. That was another consideration when you see the Nidalee. Is it something they can get aggressive on the Ivern and try and prevent Kenvi from having a simple and peaceful early game clear? But we don't even see that, so Kenvi is slightly ahead.
And I mean, Supernova, I think time is on their side. There's no true tank on the side of FlyQuest, so I think the marksmen on their team, especially being buffed up by the Karma and the Ivern together, with Daisy to make space for them, are just going to have a much easier time in these team fights. And I think FlyQuest comp, it's a little hard to interact. I mean, you scale well in some ways because you have 2 marksmen in that late game who will be very strong, but you don't have a lot of setup. Again, Shaden is just going to be trying to find these really good angles, these spears that he can turn into kills so that Bradley can start resetting. Chime, again, Braum is not good solo engage, so he still unfortunately has found himself in this position where that Glacial Fissure is going to be what starts a lot of fights for FlyQuest, and it's just not ideal.
It almost feels like the Chain of Corruption could be the thing, as Shield's already down from Chime, and he's in the neighborhood. We saw that Lens went for a very early recall there. The wave was going to slow push back towards him, so he's fine for that, but it's stacking up the early tier here. Important to highlight here, as our observer Kai is furiously all caps typing at us in the Discord. Chime is Hail of Blades on Braum, so a much more aggressive, I guess, skirmish style. If it was intentional, I have to imagine that's the reason for it, is that you can stack up the Braum passive much faster, but when are you ever going to get a chance to auto-attack a Karma Ezreal is my follow-up rebuttal.
I mean, I think the idea is that if you make a push play or you land a Q and you have the opportunity to get on top of them, you can really quickly stack that concussive blows, so that is probably the idea. And even when you start off some of these team fights, if Fly get to an objective first and Supernova are walking into them, maybe that's something that they could try to play for. It's definitely not ideal.
Well, I guess you can't always use the stand behind me aggressively onto a minion to jump forward and try and get onto Diamond, because Karma...
Maybe flash on him.
Yeah, you know, just get real in there.
Just get in there.
Yeah. Tosi got the shield behind him alongside the extra damage coming in from the Ivern, so we'll pretty easily win that trade, as that was one auto from Chime. Hail Blade's not doing too much there. Does land the Winter's Bite, as we're looking at Shaden dancing around Kenvi and Toasty right here. Wants to contest for these Raptors. Hits a big spear there while Kenvi was trying to prep the camp, and will likely try and smite it right now. Actually, he's channeling it a second time. Oh, that spear did not land, and now Toasty's got a lot of damage. Shaden's got to get out of there. Bradley rocket jumps in. Oh, he's level 6. Toasty's still level 5, so the Buster shot first blood does Shaden, as Kenvi will try and answer back the burn damage of the honors. He does get one, but Bradley gets another. So it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of FlyQuest.
That's a really nice play there coming through from Bradley. This is kind of how these fights are going to go, Steve. You're just kind of jumping at them and hoping you can get all your damage off. Yeah, true.
It did nothing. Flash away from Chime as Lens. Ooh. Yes, Sajed, you gotta be very careful walking up like that. The Winter's Bite lands, and Sajed trying to do something. Scratch my head as to what. He has to flash away right there. So no defensive summoner spells available for FlyQuest bot lane at this point in time.
And you can see Kenvi. He's beelining down there because he likes these odds. He might not be level 6, but at this point, a stiff breeze would blow over Sajed and Chime.
Ooh, Sturdy also taking a big chunk right there from Faisal, who used the explosive cask. Meanwhile, Shaden's going for the grubs. Kenvi hovering bot side, but Shime and Sajed back all the way off and will not give an opportunity for the time. So, okay, well, yeah, something's going on right now with the FlyQuest side here. It feels like maybe they got a little rocked from that last game and have yet to fully recover.
Yeah, it is seeming that way. At least Bradley, though, is playing pretty fine so far in this early game. Same with Shaden. So there is that early grubs that they were able to grab on the side of FlyQuest, so maybe there is a grub again and angle for them later on. I mean, especially when you consider the demolition power of a Tristana, it could be a pretty powerful tool for them to play with. And now at this point, I mean, the hope is that you can play some of these skirmishes through Bradley, since he has that bit of an advantage alongside his jungler. And I think that's FlyQuest's angle for the rest of this early game.
Yeah, I do like the idea of that, because if you can also pair that with the grubs that you've already stacked up the first 3, Tristana can melt turrets as you get around the game. It's not necessarily like a true win condition, but it's at least something to play towards, and if it can get you a gold lead, then maybe your lack of an engage and your lack of the ability to walk into objective fights gets nullified a little bit if you can just throw your wallets at the opponent.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, for what it's worth, FlyQuest are the ones with the bigger wallets at the moment, even though bot lane isn't necessarily going their way. For now,
oh, the spear landed. Lens could be in trouble, but is able to arcane shift away. Chain of Corruption lands on the Diamond, has flash, will use it, but the Ignite ticking down. I think he's fine.
No, he's fine.
Does the E come off cooldown? No, there's not even enough damage to get the kill. Oh, now Cerny. The World Ender. Faisal trying to outplay. Had the Explosive Cask already used, and now Surdy gets a little bit more damage traded back onto him. Nobody's going to go down, though.
Yeah, I think crucially, too, got the healing from landing that Q1 on top of his refillable pot, so that will at least make him feel a little better about trying to stay for this next wave. But yeah, that play bot lane, I mean, it was a nice angle, but they didn't end up getting the kill, which feels a little bad. But nice for Sajed. He gets the wave in, doesn't get a plate, but it does allow him to somewhat equalize that CS differential. He was down maybe 10, 15 CS at the time. Yeah. Lens will still be able to pick up this wave, but I still think it alleviates a bit of that pressure.
And it's the spent gold. Sajed will have about the same spent gold right now as Lens. Is Surdy going for another play onto Faisal? Kenty was there. I'm surprised Faisal actually body slammed away. Maybe they had, yeah, actually they did have a ward in Pixel. They saw Shaden coming up.
Yeah.
Now they see Shaden walk away, so Faisal can use that information to walk back up and make sure this wave will at least get towards the turret, but is not confident enough to fully make it crash.
Yeah, I mean, I think Surdy's just going to hold that, see if he can pull Kenby back up, see if he can bait Faisal into a kill when his ult comes back up. Either way, things kind of slow at the moment. No one's gone for any Drakes. It's looking like the play could be towards that mid lane. We know Kenby is in the area, but with mid and bot applying pressure, I think he just wants to set up for a Drake.
Yeah, I imagine that that is the idea here. The bot has so much push that they can easily roam up. Daisy's dropped down. Ivern can solo Dragon with Daisy as Bradley looks to solo Toasty here in the mid lane. Gets a big shot there. Still has the ultimate available, so Toasty needs to respect that. And Dragon's at half health. It's a slow take. Shaden's
is it a contest?
Here. Shaden can actually try and contest
Bradley
this.
too.
Toasty's still about half health, so Shaden's just going to push Kenby away from there. And now the engage on the Diamond, who does not have the flash anymore. Shaden gets the Dragon 50-50 smite. He will probably die for that. Gets a good amount of damage on the Lens, though. And now Lens is going to have to fight his way out of there as Toasty as well throws out the Coley, but Shime turns the attention on the enemy. AD carry, a double kill to Sajed, the rookie of the split from Spring. The second team All-Pro AD carry, picking up a triple kill on the Varus. Team setting him up and him knocking down the opposition.
Now that's a huge fight coming through from FlyQuest. That's why we saw the all-in in the mid lane. It's to get Bradley this opening where Toasty is stuck under his turret. So now again, this mid jungle from FlyQuest Challenger force Kenby off of the Drake. And I like this too from Shaden. He just commits to this all-in, knows he's going to go down, just resolves to do as much damage as possible because the rest of his team is here to show up and they clean up beautifully.
I actually like that look from Chime. Rather than using the shield on the Coleen to block all the damage, he says, well, the direction that's going, if we all run to Dragon, it's actually going to miss all of us. I just want to make sure that we get Lens before his Arcane Shift is back off cooldown to get over the Dragon Wall. And yeah, they're rewarded for that. Triple kill to Sajed as now Shaden's back onto the Grubs. Again, talking about the Tristana ability to take turrets. He already got 4. If you get all 6, that is going to be a nightmare for Supernova to deal with.
Yeah, true. And I'm wondering, because nobody other than Bradley is really going to get an opportunity to hit turrets, I'm wondering if we see either a big investment into mid lane to get Toasty Splash to get him off the turret, or maybe an early lane swap to try and get Bradley hitting some of these side lane turret plates. We still have 2 minutes until these plates fall, so there's that angle for gold.
Another chain of corruption. Winter's Bite lands. Diamond in trouble. We'll use the heal, but
nice flash
from Chime will get the full Braum passive. That's another kill picked up by FlyQuest bot lane.
Yeah, and it's, well, we kind of alluded to it in Champ Select. Once you get access to that chain of corruption, Sajid does have the ability to start these skirmishes. And I think he's done a pretty good job of that so far. It's resulted in him being 4-0, having the majority of his team's kills so far. And FlyQuest, they're all the better for it. Really far ahead of the game right now at this 12-minute mark.
He's just got to be careful. He's got the shields of the Ivern to keep him alive, and he's got culling. Maybe he's just, I think he just wants a wave. He needs to reset now and teleport back into lane, so he's able to get that off. But yeah, I mean, everything... I echo the sentiments. The fact that FlyQuest bot lane's able to come ahead here, and Bradley as well is able to win this mid lane. Suddenly the confusion around the composition and the concern for win conditions are being assuaged.
Yeah.
FlyQuest are finding their win conditions.
Yeah, I'm suddenly way less worried, but you know what? Gold solves all problems.
It really does.
Steve? Yeah, if you're ahead early, I don't really care what your comp is in the end. So,
but Surdy missed that cannon. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, that one felt really bad. It looked like his auto did no damage, honestly.
It really did.
All
it looked like that explosive cast did some
damage,
though. Faisal with the outplay! Solo kill Surdy!
Nah, that's like a question mark in all chat type of solo kill, Steve. Like, that was filthy. Yeah. There's nothing else to say about that. That's funny
because
because
you just let the moment speak for itself. You know, you let it breathe.
Truly. Yeah. And he gets a plate. That's just...
Chef's kiss right there. Well done, Faisal.
Truly. I mean, don't be a coward. Actually do the chef's kiss.
Mwah.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe you're all right,
Please don't
Steve.
clip that. Yeah, that's what convinced you. All right.
And you know, it's true. Now that you mention it, our observer says he could do it better. So maybe he could, yeah.
We're not going to give that a try on a live broadcast, but maybe if you want to give it a go at some point. Catching up, though, on what has happened as repercussions after the play. Faisal gets a reset, picks up boots as well as some components here, but Shaden's quicker to the Herald, so it was a cool solo kill. But all things considered, Surdy is still ahead, I would argue, with all the CS advantage that he had, as well as what the team is providing. The pressure that Shaden's had up top side. Surdy should still be in a pretty fine spot, all things considered.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there is that bit of experience advantage for Faisal, which is still going to feel really nice. You can see they're trading pretty aggressively now, but now...
Yeah, Faisal actually went for another one. He had the explosive cask again, but Surdy, with the Eclipse completed,
to get him off.
is able to absorb all of it. And now he can clear out the way, but Grubageddon is there, and the Herald is also available. Shaden's not going to drop it immediately, though. He just autoed so that the second spawn of the Grubs would come out. And Surdy, I think, can actually just get this turret on his own. Faisal has to go all the way back. Will he TP?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty big angle, too. I think TPing would be a mistake. He just knows this turret is done for, and basically with that Grubageddon, first brick is going over to Surdy. This did happen in Game 1 as well when he was playing the Renekton, and he was able to run rampant with that bit of a lead that he's gotten. So now that he has a similar lead over his opponent, I mean, we can look at the charts. Now on this Aatrox, he does have a chance to do that again. And by the way, everyone on FlyQuest sitting pretty at the top of the charts. Chime, it's for the boys, man. He's playing support. As long as his team's winning, he's winning.
And because of that chart that we see on our screen, I think is why we don't see action on our screen right now. There were so many wards placed by Supernova. They had vision that FlyQuest was on Dragon. They had teleport available for Faisal, but they just don't have the purchases, the wallets to really contest and fight Supernova right now. Or rather, sorry, to fight FlyQuest right now. So Supernova will give up the Dragon. They'll give up their bot turret just to get priority mid and give Kenvi some time to clear out the jungle.
And right now, FlyQuest getting the better of Supernova at basically every point in this game when it comes to objectives. I mean, they've gotten everything so far, Steve. They've gotten all the grubs. They've gotten all the dragons that have spawned so far. They have the Rift Herald still to work with, too. So there is an angle to drop that mid lane. Oh, hey.
Shaden missed the spear right there. And the Winter's
How did
Bite
that Q
also
miss?
doesn't land. The Glacial Fissure does flash out of Kenby. Shime will walk forward, but not feeling confident enough to just straight up go into the brush, especially with Daisy there. But now Daisy's gone, so the Space Maker for Supernova no longer available. Let's see if FlyQuest can get the turret off of that.
I think it's going to be pretty easy for them. They don't even necessarily need to drop that Herald, but setting it up for a second charge onto that tier 2. I mean, the fact that Lens is low mana, probably needs to back up, and Kenby is flashless. I actually think they probably get this tier 2 as well. They just got to respect it.
Yeah, they will lose their bot turret because Faisal commits to that, still has the teleport, and has wards to go for. So Supernova want to go for a Hail Mary. They have the opportunity, but when you're down in the series, Hail Marys are terrifying to go for. But at some point, they have to make something happen. They're down 4,500 gold, and they're hemorrhaging gold around the Rift. It's nice to get the bottom turret, but they traded down in gold on the global play.
Oh yeah, mid tier 1 and a tier 2 for a tier 1 is not a play
hit.
You're really happy about. Oh, Faisal.
I
mean, he is playing
He's got
Gragas.
Flash. He's playing Gragas, but Shime
Yeah,
hits the second Winter's Bite, and Bradley is here. Faisal can just try and pop Bradley, but oh, I like that look from Bradley, actually. He's playing so patiently.
Oh,
and he
nice!
buffers with the rocket jump. Flash follow onto Faisal. Redemption will come down, but Bradley with the Blade of the Ruin King just trying his best to lock him out. Cannot stick onto Faisal, and he does escape. Interesting. I thought he was going down, but well done by Faisal to survive.
Yeah, the Seraphs really goes a long way alongside the redemption there from Kenby. But Steve, I'm ready to talk about Bradley, and I think I'm ready to say, I'm ready to say that Bradley, he's shown us more of what we expected when he came back into Challengers League as a mid laner this split. Because you know what? We talked about it. He was struggling. The looks weren't always good. Sometimes they were good, but not very often. But I think every game this series, he's actually had a lot of really good looks. He's playing consistently well. This Tristana game is no exception, especially when you consider that early skirmish on that top rush we're looking at on our screen right now. He needed to step up for this game, and he's doing it.
Glacial Fissure actually went completely wide,
Sajed.
and Sajed's all alone now as he flashes forward on the Lens, but just does not have enough damage. Massive shutdown for the Ezreal. Let's see if Bradley can now carry the rest of the fight, because he's going to have to be the one to do the damage, and he will do just that. Surdy gets the kill credit, but Bradley's the one getting all those auto attacks in. No jungler available for Supernova. They traded for the enemy's AD carry.
So it ends up being 1-for-1, and I think Shaden will be able to. Yep, he's fine.
Okay, he's out.
Yeah, he's out. He's out. It's a little dicey there for a moment. FlyQuest still pretty happy. The state of the game at the moment here. You look at item completions here. Sajed, he did die in that fight, but he has hit that second item, Power Spike. Bradley is the same with that Flicker Blades coming online. So again, every fight that FlyQuest go for, it's just going to feel so good with the power that they are currently working with. So this Dragon in the next minute, that's theirs. I mean, if they play their cards right, the Baron could be theirs very early on. This is a double marksman comp. They're going to take that very quickly too.
And even Leandri's on Nidalee, like the damage over time is going to be insane.
Pretty good.
Onto that big objective. So that's something that Supernova need to keep their eyes on. But I will say that last engage, despite the fact it was a 1-for-1 trade, FlyQuest did misplay quite a lot. Sajed was out of position. Chime just misses the Glacial Fissure onto Diamond. And they used a lot of their summoner spells as a result. So I think that there's still a window where Supernova, if they wanted to go for something, maybe they could around this Dragon, but they need Toasty to be alive for it, and I don't think he's going to survive. Bradley and Chime commit to the play and punish Toasty in the side lane.
Even Surdy is there, which I really like that commitment there for FlyQuest. I mean, they have most of the team here in the mid lane or on the bottom side of the map. They're just foregoing top to ensure that they have control over this side here. And that's going to be an easy Infernal Soul Point, barring some kind of insane astronomical catastrophe. Like, if you and me log in to play for FlyQuest at this very moment, that's the only way Supernova are getting this Drake Steve.
Watch Lens steal it with the True Shot Barrage right now. You just curse Shaden so hard you don't even know.
Yeah?
Well, hey, it actually was Surdy that got it, so there was a window.
Sorry, is Surdy playing Ezreal and is his name Lens, or are you wrong?
No, but it was, you know, it could have happened.
But did it?
No,
See, we only work with results here.
It's a good point. It's the best way to be an analysis. As Supernova, my analysis of their current situation. Let's see if I can do that. They're down gold, they're down objectives, they're down turrets, they're down everything. They're in trouble, I would say, as Toasty trying to 1v1 Chime and actually getting 1v1 just slightly, but the coil
my
will come
God.
through. That's a lot of damage. Chime might just go down, and he does. Toasty just barely has enough damage.
Oh my God, Steve, is it time for the burger flip of the night? Are they actually going to try and go for that Baron? At the very least, is the objective bounty in that top lane going their way?
Ooh.
I mean, he's playing Gragas, he's fine.
Yeah, explosive cast knocks away Sajed, who does not have the flash. Remember that! Sajed's out of position again! And Supernova pounce on the enemy AD carry. Okay, that's a slightly bigger window now. You talked about the Baron. They could look at it.
I mean, you still have poke from Shaden, but you have the Ivern to help you sustain through it, and you're seeing the teleport come through from Faisal. This is the best chance Supernova are going to get. They need this Baron.
Oh, Bradley sidestepped the body slam. That was huge. Supernova, I think you have to commit to the Baron at this point. You started it up, but everyone's peeling away. Kenby's not on it. They are off of the objective. That was the window to go for the play, but the poke of the Nidalee was just too scary, I suppose.
Wow, that is really tough. I don't know if Supernova are going to get another angle like that again. It's tough because they're only down 3K, but it's really oppressive into champs like Varus and the Tristana when they're ahead, especially if Sajed is going to keep landing these ultimates to start up team fights. So maybe Supernova can try again in another minute's time, but you're really depending on a misposition. Because make no mistake, Sajed was out of position in that fight and he got caught out. So you can't depend on things like that if you want to get wins consistently.
But I will
that's
say,
all Supernova have.
You know, devil's advocate here for Supernova's decision to peel off of that is that, in a way, they don't have to be that concerned about being out of position themselves. The only way that they allow a team fight properly to happen is if they are on an objective like that and FlyQuest can walk at them. Otherwise, we've already talked about FlyQuest's inability to just hard start a team fight on their own. Supernova might be thinking, let's not give them that opportunity to actually get a fight going. Instead, let's play our own game. And their own game is still going to be struggling because they are behind in gold, and they're going to have to at least fight at this next dragon that's going to be set up. Faisal's just getting bullied by Bradley in the side lane here. Explosive cast used yet again. Faisal still trying to go for the outplays. Does clear the wave, and Bradley takes one turret shot before jumping away. Now Chime could be in some trouble here. Uses the Glacial Fissure. And can he escape? Can be chasing down. Faisal on top of him. He used to stand behind me to jump to the wave, but he's still tagged by the barrel. So Chime, sacrificial lamb.
He's really paying. Yeah, he's really paying for Bradley's sins there. Low mana, I think you just leave, man. There's nothing you're going to get from autoing that turret. But, I mean, Bradley does get to walk away. So, you know, never punished, I suppose. But it gives that opening for Supernova. They're going to take this turret. Bradley's going to TP from behind.
He's coming in from the flank, and here is Surdy. Daisy's on Surdy, not on Bradley. They found Kenby. A lot of damage as Redemption will keep everybody alive enough. But can they survive? Can they retreat? Lens getting to the front line here. Thinks he can out-damage Bradley, and that's just not the case. As Bradley again hit by
Faisal!
Engage, but Shaden snipes Kenby with the spear that might have just made the entire play work. Now FlyQuest onto Toasty, who is on the flank here. Sajid does not have Chain of Corruption, though, so nobody can lock him down. Toasty's able to reposition, get a lot of damage out of Bradley. He's about to blow up here. There's Chime. Bradley, one more auto. Can't quite get him, but the burn will be there. The red buff from Shaden, of all things, with Leandries. But Faisal, yet again, is the front line for Supernova. Can at least trade one back. Shaden's down, but Supernova only have 2 members to limp away. The rip belongs to FlyQuest.
And the timing couldn't be worse, Steve, as Supernova are going to limp away from the bot side of the map 40 seconds before FlyQuest's Infernal Soul comes up. We want to talk about done and dusted. If that dragon goes down, the likelihood of Supernova continuing their season is very, very low.
They got a lot of gold injection for FlyQuest right there, but pretty much everybody used their summoner spells. There's not a flash on the Rift except for Chime, Toasty, and Diamond. So if you want to say that is an advantage, maybe Supernova do have an opportunity here to reposition at the Dragon. It's spawning in 8 seconds. Teleports in the mid lane. Who can get to Dragon first to establish the vision line right now? It's FlyQuest.
Yeah, I will say Supernova's best chance in this fight. Again, Faisal has been huge for finding picks on Bradley, on Sajed. And he's going to have to somehow make that happen again if Supernova want to win this.
Daisy's walking forward to allow them the space to get vision down, but now Daisy's down, and there's the Chain of Corruption in onto Toasty, and Surdy's on top of him. He's got to flash away. He did have the Summoner Spell, but the Glacial Fissure tags him. Surdy's still on top of him, and Toasty's down. Lens on the side, though. peppering Saja with damage, but Surdy just
He's still
healing
alive.
through everything. The lifesteal on Aatrox is just filthy. Lens, Operation Save the Ezreal. He's knocked up by one. Faisal will give his life so that the Ezreal can escape, but make no mistake about it, with that Dragon Soul going down, surely after this, Lens cannot find anything in response. FlyQuest challengers find what could just be the game-deciding fight.
FlyQuest do it again, Steve, and that's it. That's their prize, the Infernal Soul. So all that upfront damage we saw, well, it gets multiplied even more so with this permanent buff that they get for themselves. And it's as you say, this could be the fight that decides the game. It could be the fight that decides the series.
And again, it's Daisy sent forward to give the vision, but then this Chain of Corruption sets everything up. Bam.
It does, and the fact that there are just these fights on multiple fronts here is what makes it a little harder for Supernova to play the game, I think. First of all, look at Lens. He's doing his best to try and secure kills, but he's not able to actually hit the other members of FlyQuest. Sajid gets away, and while he is putting his not an insignificant amount of DPS elsewhere, his team is falling to pieces.
And there's those tiny little moments right there. There was a blast cone. Diamond and Kenvi were on one side, Surdy was on the other. Neither of the ranged champions autoed the blast cone to knock away Surdy, and because of that, they just get swept here. There's a chance that more members could have gotten away, but in those tight, high-pressure moments, if you don't play perfectly, if you don't see that on the Rift, you can get so punished for it. FlyQuest challengers with the Dragon Soul will now establish themselves at the Baron buff, and Supernova have zero vision. Thank you, Observer Kai, for showing this off. This top jungle belongs to FlyQuest.
It does, and it just feels like the last 15 minutes or so, whatever side FlyQuest want on the map, belong to them, Steve. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I mean, the longer the game goes, the more powerful the shielding and healing is going to be for Kenvi and Diamond. But it's still hard when you are 7k down and also down an Infernal Soul.
Ooh. And these Nidalee spears, tough to guarantee to land, but if they do land, they're doing some damage, man. Kenvi half health right there as FlyQuest are fighting for the mid-wave priority, getting their vision down yet again, and will now go back towards the Baron. They're starting it up without clearing that ward. Another far side alteration will go down as Chime throws up the Unbreakable just to get away. Still half health on the Braum. Not a bad start here for Supernova to push them off of Baron. Oh, that's a Warmog's Braum, though. He's going to be right back to full.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's still fine. Now they need to walk away.
Watch for Chain of Corruption. Sajid could snipe it right there. Oh, gets flashed out of Kenvi. He saw it coming and will at least live, but I guarantee Chain of Corruption's a shorter cooldown than that flash. The FlyQuest challengers, they're still feeling good about that trade.
I think they're feeling good about their Baron chances too. They're going to try again. They're going to start hitting, see if they can get the turn because... Oh my god!
Oh my goodness! These spears are relentless, and Supernova simply have no answer for them. They cannot heal back up. They cannot walk away. If Lens leaves here, that Baron is good as gone. He's going to try and heal up a little bit off the way, but he just doesn't have lifesteal built. So Lens and Kenvi are just going to be at this health for the contest at the Baron. True Shot Barrage blocked by Chime. Who can possibly do it? Toasty's going to have to be the hero. Toasty, the guy, the rookie of spring who did not win Rookie of the Split to Sajid, but is trying his best here. Surdy, though, 1v5 as Baron goes down. Surdy holding the line and being the distraction will finally fall. Faisal getting that kill, but they lost Kenvi for it. Surdy in a 1v5 traded his life as Lens almost dies to the spear right there, but with Baron, with Dragon Soul, you have to imagine that this game is just done and dusted, wrapped up.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lens just sidestepping 3 spears in a row, but Sajid got on the Faisal. Didn't even use Flash. Chain of Corruption was enough. Supernova, they gave it their all, but they are being hunted in their own base. Guys, we gotta take down inhibitor turrets. I know you're having fun, but let's do it right. FlyQuest back with the wave mid lane. Are going to look to put the final touches on this game. It's just Toasty, and it's just Lens trying to hold the line. Kenvi has respawned, though. Maybe Daisy can give enough space. But with the Baron empowered wave coming in, it's looking inevitable here. FlyQuest challengers played this series well. They played it strong. And the favorites on paper fold the competition. Mail a message to their remaining opponents. We are so back. FlyQuest NZXT Challengers will defeat Supernova and continue in the lower bracket.
While it wasn't a 3-0 sweep, Steve, they still beat them in a convincing fashion, too. And
Yep.
it's like you said, Spring, FlyQuest, it seems like they're back again. We got to give that shout out there to Bradley, where I think he had a really good series so far today, probably the best I've seen from him all split. And this is what I was so excited about when I found out Bradley returned to mid lane, qualified through the promotion tournament, and then found his way to FlyQuest Challengers.
Yeah, I gotta say, this was, like I said, the FlyQuest that was promised, the FlyQuest on paper that we talked about at the beginning of summer, I think is now showing up here in the playoffs in NACL Summer 2024. Things feel like they're clicking much better, especially Bradley stepping up. I'm happy that you gave so many nods to him during the series because he felt like the one person that was different. I mean, definitively, he was the only change from the championship roster, but that was the one of like, okay, how is Bradley going to fit with the rest of the team? How is he going to either make them better, make them look worse? If they're doing worse, if they're third seed as opposed to first, it's pretty obvious to be like, oh, well, I guess Bradley was the issue. But no, he's stepping up right now, and I'm happy to see this level of performance.
Me too. And I mean, Supernova, they managed to, with the addition of Toasty and Lens, make it further than they did in spring, but they aren't going to make it one step farther. Now it is FlyQuest who win it out here on the day, and they are going to play Fear X Starforge tomorrow. So they earn that chance to play for the last spot at the Riot Games Arena, Steve, and that last spot from the NACL over to the Americas Challengers in Sao Paulo.
Yep, it's going to be a rematch, as it was Fear X Starforge that knocked FlyQuest Challengers down into the lower brackets. So they're going to have to topple their demons if they want that shot at the NACL back-to-back championship for many of the players on the roster, but also to represent North America at America's Challengers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We're going to send it to a short break before we are back with an interview of one of the winning members from FlyQuest NZXT Challengers. So if you're interested in that, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, did you know that kid is vaping the same toxic chemical that's used in taxidermy? Formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde.
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 Dermaldehyde. Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde.
Here's a fact that'll stop you in your tracks. Teens who vape can be exposed to toxic chemicals like formaldehyde. Know the real cost.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rally Cry post-game interview. I am here with Sajed, the 80 carry of the winning FlyQuest NZXT Challengers. Sajed, first and foremost, congratulations. Well-played series. The first thing I got to ask you about is, you lost 2 pentas that game. How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that we won. Those 2 pentas, it was really sad. You know, our coach after was like kind of flaming us. He's like, you know, I've lost the series chasing pentas. Like, it doesn't feel good. So, you know, like, I was sad in the
Yeah.
moment, but he made me feel better. I was like, at least we didn't lose this series because maybe we didn't dive the Rumble that one time to chase the Penta.
I mean, I think that would have been pretty bad. So, I mean, so the coach is just more about the discipline. Like, guys, let's win the game. Exploding their Nexus feels better than pentakills. Is that the idea?
Yeah, he's saying like getting a pentakill and losing the game, or like which would be like really tilting, is that will feel way worse than just not getting a penta and winning like standard.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. I think something I've been pretty interested on, and maybe the fans are too, is that you guys as a team, I think, didn't play to the expectations that we had going into this split. I mean, you guys lost quad. There were some stumbles. You still finished third, but it isn't the same dominance you had in spring. Can you talk about what it's been like incorporating Bradley throughout the entire split, and how you guys have really improved this much in playoffs? Because you guys look really good today.
Yeah, I think we just had a lot of like learning stumbles. I think, you know, it's not really a downgrade. I think Bradley's still the best mid in NACL. We just had a lot of growing pains because the one thing Quad was really good at was he would just fight. Like, he would use his health bar as a resource, and it was like, you don't see any NACL player doing that. So we had to learn how, we were all kind of just getting carried by that, low-key. So we had to learn how to actually fight and like play as a team. And yeah, I think a lot of our losses were, I mean, I'll be honest, some of our matches were at like 1 a.m. My support, like, it's past his bedtime. He's doing some, he's really tired, so.
Yeah.
But I still think we're the best team. We just had some, like, we had to learn how to play with each other a lot more.
Yeah, so it was just the growing pains, excuse me, getting used to playing with an NACL mid versus a mid who should have already been in the LCS.
Yeah, it's not saying Bradley's bad. Like I said, I still think
he
like,
is
he's
for sure
the best mid in
It's
NACL.
just like Quad was dumpstering everyone, you know?
Yeah, like Quad would get fights started, he'd get them done. Like I didn't have to think. I would just like click around when I see him on my screen and would win. So it's, you know, I have to actually do stuff, so it's a little different.
Cool. Well, you guys still have another match tomorrow against Fear X Starforge. I wanted to know, what's your opinion on Instinct? What's your opinion on them as a team? How do you feel you guys are going to match into them? Is it going to be an easy match, hard one? What are you thinking?
Instinct's interesting. I think every time I've seen him play in NACL so far, it's like it feels like he's playing solo queue. Like he's just like chilling in bushes, like never basing on like real times. So, I mean, it'll be a good match. I'm looking forward to playing against them. I really want to beat them, so, you know, I want to win.
You want to beat them specifically, or it's just about winning? Or is there like a secret
honestly,
grudge?
Yeah. There's a bit of a secret grudge, you know,
Okay,
like, screw those guys. I want to beat them.
Uh-huh.
They're
Is there any
talking
particular
a lot.
reason, or?
They're typing a lot in our matches, and
Okay.
I don't think like those players can type the way they're typing. That's all I'll say.
All right, man. Fair enough. Before we close it out and I let you go, quickly want to ask Sanjay, do you have any shout-outs you want to say before you're done?
Yeah, just my same shout-outs. Shout out FlyQuest. Shout out my brother. He's in chat. Both of them watch my matches all the time. And shout out my mom. She watches sometimes, pretends to know what's going on.
Great. It's okay. Twitch chat does that sometimes too. So, Sanjay, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with us. We're going to let you go, celebrate with the team, get ready for tomorrow. And I'm going to bring back Kangas so that we can talk about the interview we just heard. And
speaking of pretending to know what's going on, I made my whole career on that.
I didn't want to say that. I feel like I've been ripping on you all night, but if you're going to set me up for it, I mean, yeah.
It's okay. You know, I'll take that on myself. You know, it's important to own your own imperfections. Your own shortcomings. There we go. That works too. Sajid, always awesome to hear from him. And I will say, I would, if I'm a coach and they dive that Rumble and throw the game, I'm like,
oh, how pissed
honestly,
are you?
it's fine. No, it's fine.
You think it's
guys.
fine?
Go for the pentakill.
This is why no one lets Steve coach your team ever. Nobody ever do that.
They never should. Absolutely.
Yes.
I zero qualifications, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be upset if I somehow stumbled into that position. All that is to say. Sajid, awesome to see him go on. Excited to hear his thoughts on Instinct and the match that he has in front of him. But we'll also get a chance here shortly to chat with one of the members, Diamond from Supernova, who actually I think is ready right now.
Ready?
So we'll bring him on to hear from Diamond, the support from Supernova, as that was their last series of the summer split. Diamond, thanks for coming on and chatting with us. I know it's probably tough after a loss like that, but I want to start off by saying first reactions. You were able to get a game, and that last one was pretty close. So how do you feel about the team's performance in your last best of 5?
I mean, I'm glad we at least got a decent game. Like, I think like the first 2 games were kind of flukes. Like, I think we take like a bit of time to settle into a best of 5. I think that's kind of sleeping game 1, sleeping game 2. So at least we got to figure out what we wanted. I think they had like a good plan against us. I mean, we scrimmed them a lot, so they had a lot of data against us. I mean, likewise for us, right? So they kind of knew like how the way we played and how we played like really hard to our bot side. So they had like really good 1-2-3 ban, but we still had like a good like good Kate Lugs game, and the last game we could have won too. It's just we misexecuted a bit, and I think or Nala game maybe it's a bit cope, but I think the Nala game we were like in a good position as well. We just kind of ran it down. I know
it kind of felt like I echo that. I think that the draft set you up to get the win, but the execution from FlyQuest was just it was there in that game. I want to ask you about your thoughts on the Halo Blades Braum. We were talking about it on broadcast. Is this real? Was that cope? In my mind, like, when is Braum ever going to auto-attack and carve at Ezreal? So I want to hear your thoughts on the other receiving end.
Respect to him. That's all I want to say. I mean, it's not like it's not terrible. Like, it's fine. But like, I mean, in that lane, you're getting poked the whole time. You're kind of just waiting there, and you're like, oh shit, oh. You're just like getting hit from everywhere. So you just have to like take your all-in timer is like really good, and I don't think it matters too much. You can go Guardian and like get poked one last time. You can go Hellblaze and just fight to death, and you just fighting to death. I respect it. I mean, they got us one time like when we lost our flash to like the Nilly play after that. It was kind of hard on the Vera 6, but so that was ended up being good there.
True. Well, that was the series that just happened behind us, but I want to talk now about the whole season as a whole, because you were on Supernova in spring, and there were 2 roster swaps that happened. We brought in Toasty, we brought in Lens. Shout out to Shochi and Array who were on in spring, but the spring performance was not that great. I mean, I hate to bring out bad memories, but you did drop out early on in the playoffs, losing 2 series in a row, this time having a much deeper run. So talk to me about what the summer was like for the team and bringing on these 2 younger players on, especially somebody like Toasty, who's still in his rookie year competing.
Yeah, I mean, I think our roster had like a lot of like newer players, so like, and 2 veterans, so we're just trying to like, I think like it's fine to expect to like go far, even though with those players, like you will try to like reach the highest you can, but like in like retrospect, we're just trying to raise newer players and make them better as well. You know, it's like it's a two-way. So for me, like I think they stepped up. I think Toasty and Lance got a little way better over the split, and I think Faisal was always good, and he's like he got to prove it today. He had some solo kills and stuff. It was good for him. I think teams should always look at those type of players, and I think veterans you can take whatever you want from the veterans and like help your newer players up with it. You know, so that's kind of my job. That's what I was trying to do.
Well, let's hear the pitch then. You're always so articulate talking about the younger players coming on, which is why we love chatting with you on broadcast. Give the sales pitch for Faisal, Toasty, and Lens then. Why should LCS teams be looking at them as prospects developing here in the NACL?
I mean, this is like Toasty's first year, right? So, I mean, Toasty is like a really high, like top 10 mid laner in solo queue. Like he puts a lot of effort. I think he's one of those players that like you give feedback to and they will get much better afterwards. So like they will actually implement it. I think XQ was a very similar player when I started playing with him. I think that year he became much better just because he's so receptive to feedback. And I think Lance had like some like just individual like mental problems, like mental blocks and stuff, and he just needs someone to push him. So that's what I was doing for him, and I think he got to flourish from that and play the way he wanted and like be really aggressive. I think at the beginning of the split he was kind of like I don't want to say the words on stream, but he was kind of scared, you know, a little scary cat guy, and now he became a Giga Chad AD carry in the end. So I think we never lost the Kusta game. So he's very good, Kusta, the Turkish prince on the Kusta. So it's very good. And Faisal is the rock on the top. He always got something to play. He's always going to do well, no matter what happens. So
awesome. Well, thank you very much for that, Diamond. I want to give you the opportunity to take the podium and give any message that you want to give out to any of the fans out there that are listening along. Now's your moment.
Shout out to my friends that I play card games with. Shout out to Zach, Max, all the people at my card game shop that I play One Piece at. It's fun. Been my little pet project. I don't obviously League is my main thing, but I'm gonna be playing more card games. I've been starting to play Flesh and Blood. It's very fun. And shout out to Owen, shout out to Ryan, the Supernova guys that gave us a chance. I think it's really nice that they like I was helping them build a roster. Like I didn't build it myself, but they gave me like a lot of freedom, and they spent a lot of money for us. Like they were like very supportive. and they believed in what we did. So I think it's really nice of them. That is easy. That is my goat since Tinkitas. I've known this guy for 10 years. He's a great guy.
Ooh.
And shout out to the chat. Shout out to all the people that flame me when I miss my skill shots in the chat. You guys are really boosted. You guys are all bad players. Don't talk to me. I can beat you guys well on the hand. Just so you guys know. Thank you. And that's it.
All right. That's it. Well, I won't mention maybe some of the things that I've said about your skill shots on cast. We'll just let that slide under the rug. But thank you so much, Simon, for coming on and chatting. As at some point, we'll talk about card games. I'm going to get you in a call, and we're going to talk about all the different ones that we can play together, because I'm definitely a big fan as well. But for now, I'll let you get going and enjoy the rest of your summer and bring back on Beatdown here. So everybody say bye, Diamond. Give 07s in the chat for the support from Supernova to come on and chat with us. But it's always fun to hear from Diamond because, again, I mean, we've had him on the broadcast so many times. Good fan of the show. And I love hearing him also talk about the younger players because he's just so insightful in the way he describes them.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's right. Especially, I mean, Lens, we've talked about him a lot on the show on how good of a player he is, so I think it's a rightful shout-out. Toasty, yeah, it's a good point. This is his first year, and he's already improved quite a bit. And for someone so young, sky's the limit, right? So these are players that you should definitely be watching out for. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, Diamond's his teammate. It's in his best interest, but, like, there's truth to what he is saying.
Yeah. Well, technically, if Diamond is going to be competing with, somebody like Toasty next year, then it's in his best interest to not get Toasty promoted because he needs Toasty as his teammate, right?
It's true. I mean, the hope is that you're hoping that yourself and the people around you move up.
You know what?
So I'm going to give Diamond the benefit of the doubt.
Let's not even spread that mentality.
Yeah, Steve, what the hell, man?
Instead, we're going to pivot to talking about the updated bracket because this means with Supernova bowing out, they are no longer competing for the NACL Championship or the Riot Games Arena Live Stage Finals or America's Challenger Sao Paulo, Brazil, but FlyQuest NZXT Challengers still is. There are 3 teams remaining in the bracket, and tomorrow, September 1st, first of the month, we will get the rematch of Fearx Starforge versus FlyQuest Challengers to see who is challenging Dragonsteel for the finals, as well as who is winning their way into America's Challengers.
That's right, and tomorrow is going to be a very exciting matchup, our last online game until we hit LAN next week at the Riot Games Arena, Steve, and that's going to be the most exciting part because I talked about Fear being the lower bracket raid boss. I still firmly believe that to be true, but Dragonsteel are the raid boss of the NACL because this team has just been excellent start to finish here in summer, and they are truly a mountain that one of these teams tomorrow are going to have to try and climb.
But I gotta say, if you're a fan of NACL and you're excited to watch your representatives go into America's Challengers in Sao Paulo, Brazil, you're gonna be happy really no matter how things shake out. Fearx Starforge coming in and helping out Fear, building the roster and just bringing in new viewers and new energy into the scene. Their match against Dragonsteel was so exciting, just from the socials side to the actual Rift itself. Dragonsteel looking like the dominant team, and even FlyQuest Challengers making a run to a chance to defend their title. They need to make it to the finals to defend that title, but they are the reigning champs. So can they do it? We'll have to wait one more best of 5 to see. That does it for us on broadcast. So thank you so much, Beatdown, for coming on and being amazing all day, even though you roasted me a few more times than I feel necessary. I'll allow it just this once. Thank you, everybody, for watching as well, cheering on the players and the teams. Thank you, everybody in production, for getting the gears rolling, and a special thanks to the players for showing up every week and putting in the work to keep competing and make it to the LCS. The future of the LCS always starts after the LCS, and the NACL will continue tomorrow. We'll see you there.